shape our future. We came to feel the need.
Experts.
You're watching TBPN. Today is Friday, July 25th, 2025. We are
Time
live
is
from
flying, John.
TBPN Ultradome, the Temple of Technology, the Fortress of Finance,
the
El
capital,
Capital de
the
Capital. Today we got to talk about Intel. We have a post from Tae Kim, who wrote the book on NVIDIA, the NVIDIA Way, about Jensen Huang. He says,
Literally, by the way.
Literally wrote the book, yes. Intel now expects to have 75,000 employees at year end, down from 116,500 in June of 2024. That's basically 1 year ago. That's a massive cut. NVIDIA is on the other side of the trade. NVIDIA CEO said they now have 42,000 employees yesterday, up from 36,000 in January of 2025. Massive shifts. It's crazy to think about the market cap per employee difference there. Yeah. It's pretty remarkable.
Drastic.
If you're cutting costs, you got to get on ramp. Time is money.
Save
both.
both.
Easy to use corporate cards, bill payments, accounting, and a whole lot more all in one place. So the news is
Intel
that
has a ramp problem.
Yeah, they really should get on ramp. Lip Bhutan. I know you're listening. You should get on ramp, Lip Bhutan. So this is from the Wall Street Journal, the business and finance section. Intel is going to lay off 15% of their workforce. Chip giant stands at a strategic crossroads. The CEO warns no more blank checks. Intel detailed dramatic steps to revive its sagging fortunes, outlining layoffs for 15% of its workforce and scrapping plans to spend tens of billions of dollars on new chip facilities in Europe. Ooh, bearish for Europe. I didn't realize that was going on. The chip-making giant said Thursday it would refocus its strategy on the highly competitive market for AI chips, regaining market share in personal computer processors, and developing its advanced 14A technology to sell to large customers. It's like, okay, we're gonna narrow down. We're just gonna do three incredibly difficult things. We're gonna compete in the most aggressive AI chip market, where we're not just competing with NVIDIA, but also the TPU from Google, all the upstarts, Grok, Cerebras, all these different companies. So we're going to go from 0 to 1 there. And then we're also going to turn around our personal computer processing market.
Bold.
Intel, which has long dominated the business of making chips for laptops and desktop computers, fell far behind competitors like NVIDIA, AMD, and TSMC after it failed to anticipate the surge in demand for the powerful chips fueling the artificial intelligence boom. Lip Bhutan, the new CEO of Intel, after Pat Gelsinger stepped down about a year ago, I believe, said there are no more blank checks. He wrote in a memo, every investment must make economic sense. Love to hear that. Exactly what you want to hear from us.
Nominative determinism of Lip Bhutan? Hate to put you on the spot.
Hitting the beach, getting a tan. I like
That's
that. You know,
I can see it.
Maybe if Intel doesn't work out, he can get into cosmetics. It's like get a tan with this tanning oil, get some lip balm tan.
Yeah, there's something there's something called lip blushing, where I think it's like a mild tattoo. Okay. So maybe if this whole semi thing doesn't work out, he could get into
Emily
the lip blushing franchise game.
Yep, I agree. Revenue in the June quarter was roughly flat at $12.9 billion, beating Wall Street's expectations. The quarterly loss, though, widened to $2.9 billion for the quarter from a $1.6 billion loss in the year earlier period. The results represent the company's 6th consecutive quarterly loss, extending its longest streak in 35 years. It's got to suck to be in a position where computers are doing incredibly cool things. AI is magic. We passed the Turing test and you're not a beneficiary. You're losing money. And it's because of a bet on, the server and these large scale CPUs and not getting into GPUs and then missing mobile. There's a whole bunch of things that went into it. So sales in Intel's PC chip division, the company's largest segment, fell 3% from the year earlier period. I remember about a decade ago, I built a new, massive PC rig to do CGI rendering on it.
Sure.
Intel was,
sure,
as
John.
one does.
You weren't building it as a gaming rig?
I did use it for a gaming rig.
That's John's vice. John's vice. He said,
"There's market research. I need to understand what the gaming market's going. I need to understand the future of VR."
To your credit, I think you beat your video game addiction.
I did. I haven't played in years, and so it's an interesting time for Intel. I have some more information here.
Do you remember 6 months ago there was the rumors floating around that Elon was a potential buyer? That feels so long ago.
I was propagating those rumors.
And,
I was
and ultimately, it feels like he got the fun experience of a turnaround at Twitter. Does he want to do that again?
Yep.
I don't know.
I mean, my take when he bought Twitter and turned it into X was that it was exciting. I thought that he could make it a lot better. He has, in many ways, made it a better product. We stream on it now, and it feels like it's still a vibrant community, and there's a whole bunch of new features, good stuff, bad stuff. But overall, I think he put the company back in startup mode. They're shipping very quickly. Interesting things are happening, and he's making plays in an interesting way that I like. But at the time, I was like, okay, $44 billion. There's something like $50 billion from the CHIPS Act, maybe going to Intel and foundries in America. Run this back and marshal the same amount of capital. Let him buy Intel, turn that around. That feels like something that Elon would be uniquely equipped to turn around and would put us on a very different path. If he got into semiconductor manufacturing, but it would be a huge challenge, and maybe it wasn't as important to him. So I don't know. But
I mean, only a week ago, a small company called AOL, AOL.com, was posting that is Elon Musk about to buy Intel. So this feels like very, Dylan Patel on January 17th saying Elon's jet is in Florida, Global Foundries jet is in Florida, Qualcomm's jet is in Florida. But ultimately, a lot of people were in Florida at that time.
Well, if your jet's flying around the world, you got to take your jet to a wander. Find your happy place.
Find your happy place.
Book a wander with inspiring views, hotel-grade amenities, dreamy beds, top-tier cleaning, and 24/7 concierge service. It's a vacation home, but better, folks. And so Dylan Patel, speaking of Dylan Patel, he actually hung out with Lip Bhutan at a conference, and he has this hilarious story where he clearly wanted to meet Lip Bhutan and spend some time with him, and everyone's coming up to Lip Bhutan asking him what the future of Intel is, and so he goes up and offers to make him tea and makes his tea for him, and they sit down and they have tea, and I think Dylan Patel really understands tea culture and knows what makes for a good cup of tea in the same way that someone like a coffee snob knows about good coffee.
Yes.
So they have tea, and Dylan Patel's kind of picking his brain, and it just feels like Lip Bhutan's overall goal is just layoffs, reduce cost, right the ship, refocus. And so what's interesting is that we talked to Ben Thompson, and I wanted a clear narrative. I wanted something like, oh, it's obvious. Just split the foundry and the design business, split up Intel into two companies, and that will solve all the problems. But everyone seems to agree it's more complicated than that, because part of Intel's foundry business is that they design their own chips, and so they're both their customer and their supplier, and breaking those up might be more difficult. It's not a cure-all. It's not a panacea, and so it is more complicated. So there's not a super clear path forward. It's a lot of hard decisions. It's a lot of cuts to employees, and that's what we're seeing today with the 15% layoff. There will probably be more in the future as Intel continues to downsize the workforce.
Really, really rough for morale, knowing that the workforce will just be, continue to get cut into, like you said, probably not the last.
Yep. And so they are focusing on the direct quote is refocus strategy on the highly competitive market for AI chips, regaining market share in personal computer processors, and advancing the 14A technology. Now, the problem is that Intel is still more expensive than TSMC on a normalized per wafer basis. This comes from SemiAnalysis. So they have the Intel 3 node, the 18A, and that goes up against the N5, N3, and N2 nodes from TSMC. And across the board, Intel is more expensive on a per wafer basis. So this is at their own fabs. They're trying to catch up. They're trying to create chips that are as powerful, but the name of the game is always cost.
Yep. SemiAnalysis says the company has cost discipline in its DNA, talking about TSMC. Intel, not necessarily. This manifests in many ways. TSMC has more aggressive cost down targets and exercises its leverage on suppliers. It has not used the copy exact dogma that creates unnecessary overhead and resistance to improvements.
Hence, Intel is now moving to copy smart. Are you familiar with the copy exact strategy?
No.
So when Intel built the original fabs, what they would do is they would build this. I mean, it is a incredibly precise process.
Yep.
So you can think of lithography is basically etching. That's why that semiconductor company is called Etched, because you're etching grooves in a silicon wafer, and that's where when you put electricity through it, it goes through a series of gates, and that's what a semiconductor is.
And that's how you create magic.
That's how you create magic. Yes, it's the spice. The Dune analogy is the most important one here. But basically, you have to etch these grooves at as small a scale as possible. So 3 nanometers. Silicon atoms are 1 nanometer. So you, in theory, cannot go smaller than 1 nanometer chip because the space between the atoms is only 1 atom or 1 nanometer. So this is incredibly small. And so you basically have to shine like a laser or some sort of light or some sort of radiation to actually etch into the silicon to create the grooves, basically. This is a very, very high level abstraction. But in order to do that, they get these mirrors from a company called Trumpf, which is unrelated to Donald Trump, and Zeiss makes these lenses, and they focus all this stuff, and this liquid tin gets dispersed, and then they bounce light off of it. It's this crazy process. The mirrors are so flat that if you like blew them up to like the size of the moon, you would not be able to see a groove even this high. It's like the most precise process in every single
By the way, Intel missed opportunity to create the TPU. Google's obviously owning that right now, but if Intel had said we're making Trump processing,
let's SPAC it.
And SPAC, I mean, they're already public. So
I mean,
hard.
What's the chip that's going to be in the Trump phone? The golden American-made phone.
Yes.
Should be an Intel processor.
It really should.
Who knows?
American made.
So the semiconductor manufacturing process is so precise that apparently at TSMC, like if there's an earthquake or anything like that, they don't even need to send out a notification. Everyone just knows, go to TSMC because deal with everything, because the slight change in like the road noise or could like miscalibrate the machines. If it like rains too much, there will be extra salt in the parking lot that will get tracked in. Even when they go into the clean room, it'll get tracked in, and the small sodium particles will throw off the yield. So all of this is about yield. They'll make a ton of these wafers. There'll be small imperfections. It ruins the whole wafer. That's been a big problem with the wafer scale.
Which is why TSMC getting any yield in Arizona, despite setting up this new facility so recently,
was very
A
unexpected.
miracle.
It's a miracle, yes. And so the copy exact dogma was, it is so hard to build a fab that manufactures semiconductors reliably at good yields that when Intel figured out how to make one fab, they said, let's make a second and let's change nothing. And so they'd build a building. They'd build the exact same foundation. They'd build the bathrooms would be in the same place. If there was 2 urinals in one bathroom, like there would be 2 urinals at the other one. Like everything was exactly the same,
basically extremely superstitious.
Yeah, basically, because they were like, anything that changes, like if the water flows through the pipe in the bathroom at the wrong flow rate, it might throw off the amount of molecules in the air over here and the atoms over. It's crazy precise, right? And so that worked for Intel, but it had this problem, which was that every once in a while, you do want to make an iterative change, when you're building the next fab, and you do want to increase yield by maybe not copying exactly and doing things slightly differently. And so now Intel's pivoting to copy smart, only copy what's actually improvement instead of just copying everything exactly. And TSMC has never held themselves to that same standard. And so customers are likely baselining the 18A Intel node against N3, 3 nanometer nodes at TSMC, given the characteristics. But Intel will have to be aggressive on pricing if they want to compete, because they are not competitive on the actual cost of the wafer. And so they would need lower margins if they want to compete. And so you can think about Intel as having kind of like 3 feature products that people are focused on. It's Intel 3, which is their 5 nanometer class. That one is fabbed in Arizona, and Oregon and Ireland. These are at Intel facilities. Intel also has the Intel 18A, which is at the same sites plus Ohio, and this is competitive with the 2 nanometer class from TSMC. And then they have the 14A, which is supposed to be 1.4 nanometer or below. This is the most cutting edge, extreme ultraviolet, really, really aggressive lithography, and this is also made in America, which is great. And these will compete with NVIDIA's Blackwells and then the next generation Blackwell successor. And so they're going head to head, but the real question will be, can they go head to head and still squeeze out a decent margin? Because the NVIDIA TSMC partnership is really, really strong. They both have good margins, and they've really optimized for cost and reliability and yield, and Intel has kind of lost a step there. And so they will probably need to get on Linear to make this work. Linear is a purpose-built tool for planning and building products, meet the system for modern software development, streamline issues, projects, and product roadmaps. So Lip Bhutan, if you need an intro to the folks over at Linear,
reach
let
out.
us know.
We will make it happen.
Reach out, and we'll figure it out.
Intel is, of course, down almost 10% today. Market is not loving much of anything happening over there right now.
Yep. So SemiAnalysis continues saying, Intel, the home of Moore's Law. Gordon Moore, of course, worked at Intel and coined Moore's Law, the idea that the number of transistors will double every few years on a silicon chip, allowing for more compute power, basically at the same price. They're evaluating if it will continue at the leading edge. This is what moves the stock, in my opinion, more than the 15% layoff. The layoff seems like reasonable downsizing, but deciding, hey, we're not even going to compete on the most advanced semiconductors, which is what Elon, Google, Anthropic, Sam Altman, every single company is like, give me all of the best and give me hundreds of thousands of the best. The rest of the stuff is like, okay, I'll go to anyone because I need a Wi-Fi chip in my toaster. So the quote from the 10Q, from Intel's 10Q is, however, we are unable to secure a significant external, if we are unable to secure a significant external customer and meet the important customer milestones for Intel 14A, we face the prospect that it will not be economical to develop and manufacture Intel 14A and successor leading edge nodes on a go-forward basis. In such event, we may pause or discontinue our pursuit of Intel 14A and successor nodes and various of our manufacturing expansion projects. And SemiAnalysis says, just like that, we could be talking about a TSMC monopoly and the death of American-made semiconductors forever. Very dark. Well, let's tell you about Restream. One live stream, 30 destinations. We couldn't do the show without it. Multi-stream and reach your audience wherever they are. You can sign up for free at Restream. So in other semiconductor news, there's a big debate going on around Etched. I reached out to the founder. I did an interview with him a while back. I'd love to have him on the show. He was Gavin Uberti at Etched. Is the basic high-level pitch is we're taking the transformer architecture and we're baking it down into silicon. SemiAnalysis has been taking some shots at the idea, saying, hey, it's just marketing. But I feel like he has something else going on, some other strategy. He's Teal Fellow, very smart guy, very interesting, very nuanced take on AI. And a lot of his predictions have been right since I interviewed him a few years ago. And so I'd love to catch up with him and hear his rebuttal to this at least. But basically, SemiAnalysis makes a very detailed analysis saying that Transformers are 90% matrix multiplications. You take a bunch of math, you multiply it together. So baking the transformer architecture into silicon doesn't actually get you that much. A different semiconductor analyst.
Semi-analyst.
A different semi-analyst. I don't know why they call them semi-analysts. I think that they're full-time analysts.
Yeah.
I don't think they're anything but semi.
It's rude.
It's very rude
to say that they're part-time.
It's
and
disrespectful.
they're clearly putting it all on the line.
They're putting it all on the line for sure. So Sally Ward says, okay, I'll bite. Yes, making a transformer chip does mean making a large matmul engine, but there's a lot more to efficient transformer inference than gems/flops. You need to be able to feed and use those flops efficiently. Goes back and forth a bit, even takes a shot at them using GPU, which I guess is an industry term, and the semi-analysis team drops a very, very thorough post. You can just go read it, but they close. In regards to, by the way, no one in AI has used the term GPU since about 2020. This is not correct. Many chip architects definitely continue to refer to AMD, NVIDIA, Intel ARC class of software as GPU and differentiate from the Trainium TPU Gaudi style architecture and programming model. So a little bit of timeline and turmoil in this semi-analysis world, which I enjoy.
By the way, one of our early listeners, Wade Lloyd, bought timelineinturmoil.com and redirected it to TBPN. So thank you to Wade for doing that. It is a fantastic domain.
But yeah, so big debate over how much more you can squeeze out of baking the transformer into silicon. There's also this interesting concept that which I didn't know. A lot of people think like attention is all you need, is the paper that dropped. The transformer architecture isn't going anywhere. You're long transformers. But apparently, according to semi-analysis, the transformer architecture moves on the order of months, and the typical chip life cycle is years. And so, yes, we're still using transformers, but the transformer is changing slightly. And so we don't have a new word for it, new buzzword, but there are changes that if you got really locked into V2 of the transformer architecture, then V3 might not be as advantageous. So big debate over the future of semiconductors. Intel will have to figure it out and see where they can play. Let's tell you about Figma. Think bigger, build faster. Figma helps design and development teams build great products together. They're IPOing next week.
And Figma Make is publicly available.
Go check it out
for free now. Check it out
for free.
Yep. In other news, Jared Isaacman, who we know was Trump's initial pick for NASA administrator, just took Secretary Duffy up in one of his personal fighter jets. So
this guy rocks.
If you have a personal fighter jet and you can fly it yourself, I think you should have a good shot at becoming the NASA administrator. I think that kind of narrows the options down to probably one man. I don't know. We should figure out how many people on Earth have their own fighter jet that they can actually fly.
I wonder what...
Can't be that many.
I wonder what fighter jet this is. I know people used to buy MiG trainers and fly around in those, and those are fighter jets, but they were like decommissioned, easier to get. And I don't believe they were actually that expensive. I think they're cheaper than a Gulfstream. And so...
Well, the TAM of people that are going to buy one and use it.
Yeah.
Just very small.
Yeah, very, very small. Obviously high skill ceiling. But if you pull up in a jet, it's just incredible aura. Incredible aura.
I mean, the one that's going to be, the best personal jet will be the F-35. It's a little bit pricey, but being able to, vertical takeoff landing
here's the video.
Makes it much more
pull this up. That is so
useful.
Cool. I wonder. Yeah, we got to figure out how much that thing costs. I've long advocated for the president to recommission the SR-71 and use that as the Air Force One, because this is the pitch for Hermeus and boom, supersonic. But
Michael Miraflor in the chat says that's a MiG-29.
MiG-29, so it is a
great
MiG
call.
trainer, which is like decommissioned, doesn't have weapons on it, I believe, but pretty amazing. But I think it's like a $20 million.
He says it's
plane.
the only Western-owned MiG-29.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Wow. Very, very cool. Well, thank you for the details in the chat.
MiG was apparently designed by...
I thought it was Russian.
Yes. But this guy...
John Miggs.
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
Okay,
It's
well, you look it up.
Mikoyan,
Mikoyan.
which was headquartered in Moscow, and the designer creator was born in 1893 in Kursk, Russia, and died in the 70s.
Well, if you're accumulating military hardware for personal use, you probably got some compliance needs. You got to get on Vanta. Automate compliance, manage risk, prove trust continuously. Vanta's trust management platform takes the manual work out of your security and compliance process and replaces it with continuous automation, whether you're pursuing your first framework or managing a complex program. Let's go to Donald Trump meeting with Powell at the Federal Reserve.
Pull up the video.
Tom says, LMAO, this is a comedy skit. I want to watch this video. Let's play it.
So we're taking a look, and it looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out.
Our notes had it about 3.1 as well.
3.1.
3.2.
This came from us?
Yes. I don't know who does that.
You're including the Martin renovation. You just added our entire capital. Yeah, you just added in a third building. Is what that is. That's a third building.
Well,
including
no,
the
but
Martin building.
it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
It's part of the overall work. So we're going to take.
I think there was another one where he talks about like, now we have to lower rates because of this. So amazing.
Well, yeah, there's one where he says, I'd love it if my buddy here would lower the rates.
Yeah.
I love to see him in hard hats. Really
great.
shows that they're getting close to the metal.
Yep, totally. Well, Donald Trump is doing deals, trying to bring more money into the United States. The news is that Japan is apparently committing $550 billion to the United States. It's over
to
10%.
Our sovereign wealth fund?
Yes. This is a crazy
very
story.
very American to treat the sovereign wealth fund as just a private.
Yeah, it's amazing. I don't know.
Private
if it was
equity.
Was it in the Journal today?
Yeah.
Oh, there's the. No, I don't think this one printed yet. But look at this costly overrun to renovate Fed's office fuels criticism. The Journal's so good at picking images. This image is so iconic. Anyway,
so in the Journal today, Trump's quest for his own sovereign fund gets $550 billion boost from Japan.
We were talking about this earlier. Japan was like kind of not wanting to play ball on the tariffs for a while. There was a question.
They're playing ball
this
now.
Is now they're doing deals.
But already I think there's some weird externalities as
see.
Government intervention in free trade often has. So
Yep.
President Trump has long wanted a U.S. sovereign wealth fund that would give him free rein to make big investments in key sectors. Japan could help him get the next best thing. As part of a trade deal reached this week, Japan agreed to invest $550 billion in projects across strategic U.S. industries, including energy, semiconductor manufacturing, and shipbuilding. The White House said Trump would have final say over where the money goes. Deploying capital, folks. It's effectively the GP of the Sovereign Wealth Fund.
It's crazy.
New title. And the U.S. would keep 90% of the profits on any investments.
Yeah, it's like instead of like 2 and 20, it's like a 0 and 90.
Yeah.
I guess
I'm
that's
sure
like
we're
the
getting
way it's
some
set
fees
up.
off the
Even
top
fees
too. I mean, we got to have management fees. How else is Trump going to travel 3 months in Europe?
All these
over the
tier
summer?
1 funds are like, 2 and 20. No, we're a 4 and 40 shop. We're 3 and 30 shop, and they think they're so fancy.
And there's levels.
Well, there's levels to this, yeah. And you just got absolutely mogged by the president of the United States.
90% carry.
90% carry. Let's hear it for the United States, baby.
I mean, this is going to inspire some hardworking allocators out there that are going to look at their fee structure and say, if I'm really a generational investor, should I really only be getting 20%?
Also, imagine getting staffed on this as like a principal or like an analyst or something, because like
is the investment team going to get some points on this?
I don't think so. I think no matter what you do in
But
the government, you're basically salary capped at like $200K. I don't think there's anyone in the government.
How are we going to get our best and brightest?
I know we got to uncap the salary cap. Get some rising stars on
We need
Sand
some
Hill
VPs
Road.
from everywhere from Blackstone to Sequoia.
Yep.
I want Andrew Reid deploying the U.S. Sovereign Wealth Fund.
Poached.
Poached.
Hey, benchmarks, hemorrhaging partners. Put him on the team.
Yeah, maybe
These people-
Victor is going to the U.S.
Victor's-
Sovereign Wealth Fund.
Maybe.
You know?
That would be a big bombshell. I'd love to see it.
One Trump official said the administration was thinking of an arrangement like a sovereign wealth fund that Japan is funding. I love how we're just like rebranding sovereign wealth funds. The money will take the form of equity, loans, and loan guarantees and come from the Japanese government, said Senator Bill Hagerty.
Not private companies specifically. It's coming straight from the Japanese government, which I think is frustrating people in Japan. Although Hiro Onoda, I don't know if this he's using they, so it seems like he is not in Japan currently. Says it's greater than 10% of their GDP. They exported $150 billion to the U.S. and assuming they just bore the extra cost of 15% extra, even that's 20 billion a year. So that is a huge commitment. But I mean, I guess if they have a big balance sheet, like makes sense to put it to work somewhere.
Howard Lutnick said this is literally the Japanese government giving Trump $550 billion and says, go fix whatever you need to fix.
I love it.
One admin official gave a hypothetical example of how Japanese money could be deployed. The U.S. could fund construction of a semiconductor facility for, say, Intel, then lease it to Intel and keep 90% of the leasing revenue.
Well, if you're looking to fix your code review process, get on graphite.dev. Code review for the age of AI. Graphite helps teams on GitHub ship higher quality software faster. Anyway, let's continue with this. If the fund materializes as Trump envisions, a significant question, it would give an American president unprecedented power to steer money into the projects of his choosing, potentially with some significant impacts on particular industries. This is interesting because I feel like this story just broke and the reindustrialized crew isn't necessarily talking about it yet, but this feels extremely aligned with the whole reindustrialize movement, the idea of more U.S. dollars. We saw this with the AI summit and the AI action plan. There's a lot of talks about positioning, but there wasn't that much actual new legislation or new funding that could specifically move a particular project forward, which I think would be more exciting. To be like, okay, like, you know, we're building a bridge, we're building a dam, we're building a nuclear reactor. We're building something. Like the U.S. government hasn't really been in build mode for a long time. It feels like everything's kind of stalled, and some of that's good because it's handled by the private sector.
We had the founder of Bright AI on yesterday, who scaled to $100 million run rate, or bootstrapped to $100 million run rate, and then recently raised from Khosla. He was saying a lot of U.S. infrastructure was built during the World War II era with a 20-year expected 20-year lifespan, and obviously is still what we're relying on today. So,
well, speaking of the reindustrialized crew, they sent us this wonderful clock from Shinola, a Detroit-based company.
Clocks are incredibly underrated.
Yeah, clocks are fantastic. Thank you, guys.
Thank
really
you,
appreciate
Aaron
it.
and Austin.
Very frustrated that we couldn't make it to reindustrialize. Seemed like an awesome time with all of the absolute boys out there having a good time. I think we will have our remote workflow worked out and studio stuff worked out so that we can travel more in the near future. But it was fun having so many of the folks call in from Reindustrialize, give us the updates from the ground, and excited to do more of that. So, who is this? Christina Davis, Harvard University professor of Japanese politics, who directs its program on U.S.-Japan relations, said where this one deviates is the step toward investing at the president's direction, with the profits going to the U.S. It makes it sound coercive, socialist, and unprecedented in any sense of past trade negotiations. Now, the U.S. has a mixed
In many ways, it
bag.
makes sense that the president would be the chief capital allocator, the chief GP.
Yes. So
Commander-in-chief, GP-in-chief.
yeah, what's weird is that we've talked a lot about how when the U.S. government tries to pick a winner, it often doesn't go very well. The famous example, at least from 0 to 1, Peter Thiel's book, is Solyndra. Are you familiar with this? So Solyndra was a clean energy startup.
Oh, yes.
That was a cylinder. Like instead of just a flat photovoltaic panel, I believe it was like a cylinder, and the idea was like clean energy, and they got this massive grant from the Obama administration, and the company went bankrupt, and it was a big mark on this idea of the government like picking winners and backing companies. And in 0 to 1, Thiel kind of outlines this idea that like from first principles, you could tell that just mathematically a circle didn't fill as much space as a square, and so you should have gone with the square solar panel.
Yeah.
And so the business model was kind of flawed from day one, and you could have figured that out if you'd just done the basic math of how energy dense is a circle versus a square. If you're packing them in, pack a bunch of circles in, there's going to be a bunch of extra space. I think that's basically what happened. Maybe I'm collapsing it a little bit, but I'm not a huge fan of the government picking winners. I like the Tesla model a little bit more, where there was just this EV tax credit and anyone could have gone after it, and then Tesla just dominated it and won it. And then
even in China
benefit.
China effectively encourages massive competition,
yeah.
and then kind of waits for there to be a breakout winner.
Yep.
And that creates a talent vortex.
Yep.
And then the state is effectively starting to like really back it in a meaningful way.
Yeah, it's very like
but they didn't
controversial to
necessarily
say.
pick the winner.
Exactly, it's somehow more capitalist, and that's what this Harvard professor is kind of taking shots at, saying like it's pretty socialist to be picking winners, and in a weird world like China's policies tend to be more capitalist in some ways. Like they are doing a lot of investing in technologies and putting government and I guess taxpayer funds into strategic technologies and subsidizing whole industries. Like their chip manufacturing, their supply chain for semiconductors has been lagging for like 50 years. They've been not competitive. But the Chinese government has just been like, well, there's still an incentive to make semiconductors here. There's still an incentive to make semiconductors here. Who's going to do it? Who's going to do it? And it's one company, and then it's SMIC, and then it's SME, and then Huawei's getting stuff. And it should be the same thing with electric cars in America. Tesla got a benefit. Rivian also got a benefit. Lucid got a benefit. And even when BMW went over into electric cars, they got a benefit. And now those benefits are pulling back, and we can go into what's happening with Tesla stock. But
to put the 550 billion number in some context, American tourists spent just under $6 billion or $6 billion in tourism in Japan last year.
Okay. They'll earn it back in 100 years. 100 years of tourism, and they get it back. But no, I mean, the thing is that this is not them giving us the money. Like they should earn a return. I would be surprised if these infrastructure investments don't pay off.
It's going to be hard to beat the market if you're getting 10% of the upside.
I mean, if you collapse it down, you're basically treating Trump as a solo GP, and you have to look at his historical IRR. And he's gone bankrupt a few times. But I think overall, he's not just zeroing everything, right? Some of the stuff's ripping. I bet on average he's preserving capital, if not returning multiples of it. And so you think about a scale of, okay, there's going to be a new semiconductor plant in Arizona, and Japan's going to come in and underwrite $100 billion of development and some massive probably debt deal or something, and they're going to earn some sort of return. The chance that they don't get anything back is pretty low, I think. I don't think this is money going into a pit and burning. You're a little bit.
I'm a little worried. I mean, the example was the money goes into let's say a semiconductor manufacturing facility, and then Intel would pay the U.S. government to lease it, and the U.S. government would keep 90% of that. It's going to be hard to. You will be losing money if you factor in inflation.
Maybe. I mean, the way I see a deal happening is I need $100 billion to go build a bunch of nuclear power plants. I go to Trump or the U.S. government and say, I need $100 billion. And they're like, great, take $20 billion in equity, take $80 billion in debt. And then there's, an interest rate, a coupon rate attached to that debt. And then the equity has some sort of value. And hopefully the plan works out so that there's a multiple return on the equity, and there's an interest rate that, and like you blend the IRRs and you're getting to 5-10% across everything. And then yes, the US is taking 90% of that, but you are still preserving your capital. Like the idea that it's like instantly a zero is probably hopefully avoidable, right? It could be if they do another Solyndra. They'd have to do a lot of deals, but if they have a portfolio, you would assume that the portfolio broadly does okay.
Yeah, it's possible that Ishiba, the president of the prime minister of Japan, is just so AGI pilled. And is such a firm believer that America is going to win the AI race that he just says, "Yep, take it, Mr. Trump. You got it from here."
Yeah, I mean, it could be seen as like, are you comping it against buying treasuries? Because that's just a way to like index to the dollar. If your currency is in decline, like at least at the end of that term, you've got 3%.
That'd be really funny if Trump
continuously.
just takes the $550 billion and buys T-bills
to lower the rate, to bring down the yield curve. Just wants to bring down. It's just obsessed with the yield curve.
Market buying T-bills and taking 9%, or sorry, 90% of the yield.
Yeah.
Anyways, lots of fun.
Asset management is the greatest business. AUM maxing. He's AUM maxing.
Jeremy Gaffon
So
called it.
let's keep going with this.
Okay.
There's a little more in here that I want to go through. So the plan has raised more questions than answers on Wall Street and beyond. Details remain unclear, including whether Japan will have any discretion over projects and the time period during which the investments will be made. Haggerty said the investment will be overseen by two Japanese-backed administrators, Japan Bank and Nippon Export. One administration official said the funds would likely arrive only as needed, so you make capital calls when you need to. As you know, these deals have been agreed in principle, but they have not been fully papered yet. In selecting investments, this is where it gets interesting, Trump would have help from the Commerce Department's U.S. Investment Accelerator, headed by former Morgan Stanley investment banker Michael Grimes and Polytechnic alum. I went to the same school as this guy, absolute beast. He took Facebook public. He has a massive row. He's like the king maker.
The deal toy.
Yeah.
Final boss.
Deal toy final boss. You walk into his office and it's just, there's no room to put down a coffee because there's just a deal toy on every single surface. It's insane. Absolute beast.
The dream.
One of the greatest to ever do it. His team will help identify investments and make sure the funds are used properly and expeditiously. People familiar with the matter said the size of the commitment dwarfs most investment funds. It's more than twice the size of Japan's gross foreign direct investment in the U.S. last year. And so we can't really evaluate the agreement because it's so vague at this stage. There's a lot of vague deals happening right now. The AI action plan is kind of in that territory now, but we still are only 6 months into this administration. Maybe all of this crystallizes. And then they comp it to Stargate, which was unveiled at the White House in January, involved a commitment from OpenAI. This has apparently already been scaled back, unclear exactly what that means. And so there was also an EO from Trump in February directing his team to develop a plan for an establishment of a sovereign wealth fund within 90 days. This is the start of that. So anyway, get on numeralhq.com, sales tax on autopilot, spend less than 5 minutes per month on sales tax compliance. Let's go to Avalanche Energy. We got to ring the dong.
Was awarded a $10 million grant from Washington, the state, to develop Fusion Works Neutron Factory. This marks small-scale fusion's evolution from a laboratory curiosity into a neutron source that creates real-world value. From Robin Langtree, the CEO of Avalanche.
We've had him on the show. Great guy. I've toured his facility with Ben up in Washington. We had a lot of fun. Extremely hard project. Small-scale fusion. Fusion is still not fully commercialized. Small-scale fusion is in some ways easier because you're making something smaller, but also still untested. Lots of work to be done, but great to see that they have more money to develop more technology. So congrats
Love
to the
to
team
see
over there.
Washington State
They've been really, it feels like Washington's been kind of under the radar as being like very hard tech friendly. Like he's had he set up a whole facility over there by the SeaTac airport and seems to be able to do stuff. Although he's not working with radiation because he's not doing fission, he's doing fusion. And so his power sources are like he needs like hydrogen or something, or it's like pretty inert gases that aren't that big of a deal.
He should talk to Trevor from Nicola's brother, the man.
Oh yeah.
The head of hydrogen.
Yeah, I mean you want to be taking advantage of those 80% energy gains for sure.
Yeah, they're making it for 80% less than anyone else in the known universe.
Sure. Anyway, Fin.ai, the number one AI agent for customer service, number one in performance benchmarks, number one in competitive bake-offs, number one ranking on G2.
Say it again. Don't get in a bake-off with Fin.ai.
Don't do it.
If you enjoy winning.
Don't do it.
Have
Anyway.
time. Great
Antonio.
post here from Antonio. Garcia Martinez. He
He's
says
coming on the show next week, by the way.
the 80s were the apex of American civilization, and today is a sad day. His memory will be a blessing.
Yes, we
Talking about
mentioned
Hulk Hogan. Let's
Hulk
play this
Hogan's
video
passing.
if we can.
Yeah, pull up that video and I will read from the Wall Street Journal. Hulk Hogan is gone, but still everywhere. He may not have been a traditional athlete, but the late pro wrestler's influence in sports and the culture
He's
at
an
large
entertainment
was
athlete.
pervasive. So, I'm not sure where to put, this is from Jason Gay in the sports section of the Wall Street Journal. Jason says, I'm not sure where to put Hulk Hogan in the history of sports or whether to put him in there at all. Hogan, who died Thursday at age 71, could pull off exceptional athletic feats with his massive, sculpted 6'8" body. We got some misinformation yesterday where we were quoting him at 6'7".
6'7".
Seems like he's my height exactly. Still, a professional wrestler's trade is, spoiler alert, entertainment, not pure competition. And yet it's impossible not to recognize wrestling's evolution from regional circus to widespread cultural force. It is crazy that pro wrestling started as just like a traveling circus, like just a bunch of dudes coming into town and being like, you want to see us fight? It's so funny. Today, this is an accepted, well-trodden observation. Sports, politics, and daily life are closer atmospherically to the wrestling ring than ever before. This is the idea of kayfabe in politics, the idea of people being in on the joke. They know that people are just saying things to rile up the other side. They're entertaining. We see this in journalism and media. We see it in tech. We see it all over the place. And Jason here in the Wall Street Journal is drawing more analogies from that. We become a nation of noisy confrontationalists. The skillful soft touch replaced by the swing of the folding chair. Reason is routinely drowned out by the loudest voices in the room. Wrestling strips life's complications down to primal conflicts, and few wrestlers embodied this approach as famously and forebodingly as Hulk Hogan. I'm not a wrestling obsessive. I've been a couple times, that's it. I still need to look up the correct spelling for Bruno Sammartino. But I know enough to know Hogan, born Terry Bollea, was a transformative figure, one of the most larger-than-life characters in a larger-than-life universe. And I think we have the video ready to pull up.
It's not a video after.
Oh, it's not. It's just an image.
I think it's just a picture.
It's just a picture from AGM. Well, we did play the Hulk Hogan calling out someone else, I forget, in one of those like pre-show reels on the last show. So you can go check that out if you want. Anyway, he says, a true brand name, Hogan over time refashioned himself as a heel to hero to heel and everything in between. So we went back and forth. I think the actual wrestling term is a face. A face is someone that everyone loves. A heel is someone that everyone cheers to lose. But they both play the role, and there's a lot of interesting like fourth wall breaking, all sorts of stuff going on. He had too many comebacks, collapses, and professional detours to count. At one point, he went and did movies, and he came back, and everyone was saying, he's Hollywood Hogan. He's gone to Hollywood. He's sold out. He doesn't represent us. And so that was like a whole character that he played up, Hollywood Hogan. He's too good for the mainstream wrestling fan, and everyone loved that. There we go. We got some video of Hogan running around with an American flag. You love
it's
to
interesting.
see it.
We found him waving a flag.
Over
great.
time, his character seemed to merge with Terry. Terry Bollea, the human, and Hulk just became the same person.
Yeah. I was talking to Rob about this. There's this idea just generally in media about like you play this character when you're on camera, but you want to be authentic, but you don't want the attacks on your character to ruin your personal life. You don't want to lose yourself in the sauce. It's all very complicated and modern. It's very, very bizarre. Celebritized and repeatedly scandalized, swapping places as poster boy and pariah, fired for getting caught on tape using racist slurs, a strange protagonist at a media crusade, and even a convention speaker. Yeah, he spoke at the most recent RNC convention where he ripped off his shirt in support of Donald Trump. He was controversial and omnipresent through the end. He exploded on the scene in the early 1980s. A lot of people's first exposure when he appeared in the ring as Thunder Lips. the ultimate male against Rocky Balboa in Rocky III, tossing Rock like a rag doll as a horrified Mickey and Adrian recoiled. Going to Hollywood cost Balea his job in the then WWF. They didn't want him to do it. But Hulkamania only grew, and he returned. The fever reached the point he landed on the cover of Sports Illustrated in April of 1985. Biceps flexed, hands clawed, a fictional barbarian at the gate. Traditionalists...
Pull up this post from Luke Metro.
Oh, yeah. Traditionalists howled. Pro wrestling wasn't real sports. How could the Hulkster enter the same cathedral as Koufax, Ali, and Abdul-Jabbar? I admit to harboring the same feelings when I see pro wrestling events treated seriously by major sports outlets. Why are we doing this? Why? Yet wrestling's reach is indisputable, and Hogan's timing in its ascension was impeccable. He hitched his career to its leap from localized products to global force, a handsome blonde agent of Vince McMahon's aggressive growth strategy and a media ecosystem that cultivated better than most. Hulk understood a very old-fashioned wrestling concept. To be seen, it's better to be outrageous. To be heard, you need to be loud. If it earns you love, great, but even if you are hated, you are still noticed. Great lesson there. So what did Luke Metro say?
He says, "You watch the earth, I'll watch the sky, brother."
What a great
And
post.
of course,
The unlikely
referencing
alliance.
the Gawker takedown, where these two.
Yeah, linked in such an odd way, such different characters, and yet linked both in the support of Donald Trump at various points on the conservative politics world, and also with a mutual distaste for Gawker and their salacious reporting. It's absolutely insane. This kind of intentional performance, what wrestlers call a work, is routine in sports. Common is the athlete who arrives on the scene and makes noise to get attention, make a name, and make money. It's pervasive in every profession now. The media used to be a necessary partner, but now the digital tools exist to do it on one's own. Influencers, business antagonists, media flamethrowers, and the performative fray of social media, the exhausting, not very real reality programming on television. There's a bit of wrestling in all of it. I'm not sure the tools exist.
How much do you think the combined entity that includes WWE and UFC is worth in the public markets today?
I would say like $4 billion.
Close.
How much?
33 billion.
Whoa, not close at all, dude. I was not by an order of magnitude. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a beast.
Yeah. It
So-
also includes IMG, the sports talent
Isn't that
management.
a modeling agency too?
I think they have a modeling division,
Okay.
but it's primarily sports
Sports
talent.
talent?
They also own PBR,
Okay.
the Premier
Oh.
Bull Riding.
Oh, yeah,
we gotta
you
we
meant
gotta
the
spawn. We
beer.
gotta get a TBPN bull riding.
I'm a
athlete.
huge JB Monty fan, one of the greatest to ever do it. He's one of the most legendary bull riders. I know all about him. Recently injured, very sad, but the bull that retired him by breaking his back, he now owns and affectionately takes care for, and they are now friends. Beautiful story. I'm not sure the tools exist to turn the clock back. The appetite exists for relief, but I don't know if there's room anymore for subtlety, context, or even expertise. The algorithms reward volume, and so does the culture. The rest of us are caught in the noise. Hulk Hogan is departed, but he remains among us. What a wonderful obituary. Tell me about UFC and
It
how
is
this
incredible that
applies
so
to
many.
UFC.
It says something about the character that Terry played in Hulk Hogan, that he could have these glowing obituaries despite having so many sort of terrible moments. Whether when that he made some terrible comments on recording. At one point, and to get this again, referencing what I said earlier, is like, who is the man? Who is the man? Is it Terry? Is it Hulk Hogan? Are they the same? Are they the same thing?
I watched a hilarious interview with him in maybe GQ or something, where they go in his house, they see his supplement stack, and he said that during this time when he was fighting, this is insane. He was like, they were like, what was your diet? What were you on? He was like, well, I'd wake up and I'd have beer and 2 Tylenols, and then like after the fight, I'd have 6 beers and 2 more Tylenol, stuff like that. And I remember you asked me one day, you were like, "Oh, I got like aches, I'm not feeling well," and I was like, "You got to take Tylenol." And you were
Why
like,
didn't you recommend beer?
I should have recommended beer. But I remember you asking me like, "Okay, John, like I know you're like really like nerdy about all this stuff. Like you probably have some like really solid rationale for like why Tylenol is like the correct painkiller to take." And my entire rationale was just like it was good enough for Hulk Hogan. But in this video, they're asking him all these questions. And they're doing the rapid fire questions, and they ask him like, "Hulk Hogan, if you could fight anyone, alive or dead, who would you fight?" And he just says, "Bill Clinton." It's like I have no idea what he's thinking, and it's just like, and they just move on to the next one. It's like, why is he holds some grudge? I assume for political reasons or something, but it was just a wild thing to say. Very entertaining. But on the note of entertainment, I want your reaction to
that.
This
seems
specific.
A little more tan than you'd want to go for.
This is a little too tan. I think that's probably the camera adding some color correction or something. It seems like the exposure on the camera was a little low that day, but he is very tan. Because here, look at this picture in the Wall Street Journal. It's the same photo, and it's a much more normal tan. But he is very. I don't know if he's Italian, but he is very tan. So I want you to explain to me about how this relates to UFC. In this article, they say common is the athlete who arrives on the scene and makes noise to get attention, make a name, and make money. It's pervasive in every profession now. How does getting attention work in UFC? You mentioned that Conor McGregor was particularly good at like trash talking, and that allowed him to be more successful than some of the modern UFC fighters. But how does that dynamic work? Because I feel like UFC is not fake like wrestling. It is very real. And so why is it that the points aren't all that matters? Or I guess there aren't points in UFC, but like the wins, the knockouts. If I come in, I should be able to be entirely silent and win, and I should still be comped the same, but that's not how it works in UFC. Explain it.
So Conor McGregor arguably had the gift of gab, yet he backed it up with a series of wins that elevated him to superstar status, right? You can't just be a yapper, but there were some iconic moments where he would, I believe, I'm forgetting the guy's name, but when he was fighting the Brazilian champion, he basically called exactly how he was going to knock the guy out the day before.
Yeah.
And there was these moments that just like launched him into superstar status. Since then, you've had people like Ilia Topuria who are probably more talented, better all-around fighters, more consistent. And it's interesting because Ilia Topuria, the main critique early on was that he was just like just copying Conor McGregor. He wasn't his own man. He would use Conor McGregor like lines. He got a tattoo that's almost exactly like Conor's on his back. But overall, like UFC, people like hardcore fans will be frustrated because they'll say, "Oh, this is just like wrestling. Like he shouldn't be getting the fight. This is just like pro wrestling." And it's like, you realize the companies are owned by the same group. Like it's an entertainment company, right? So TKO,
wrestling and
TKO,
UFC are both owned by the same company.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The $33 billion public company called TKO.
Yeah.
It's all entertainment. It's an entertainment company.
Entertainment
disguised as sport.
Okay.
Obviously, the athletes in UFC are incredible, but over and over, you've seen the best paid fighters end up being oftentimes the most entertaining.
Yep.
The Russian fighters like Khabib were historically very humble and very quiet.
Less entertaining.
And but they were so dominant. Like Islam is so dominant, he can be humble and still draw attention, but nothing like Conor did in his prime, right?
Yeah, I remember
the
the
UFC's
Conor
been
swag walk is like iconic.
Yeah,
there's a lot of things that are
so.
iconic.
And then you have people like Paddy the Baddy from the UK,
Yes.
who's a loudmouth, very entertaining in a bunch of different ways. He swells up. He gains like seemingly 50 pounds in between fights.
Yeah, when I saw him for the first time, I was like, that does not look like a fighter. That looks like a musician or something. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm going to look at the pound for pound rankings right now on UFC if I can pull this up.
Yeah, it's interesting because that hasn't really. I feel like that hasn't really happened in the NFL for some reason. Like because the Super Bowl is not decided based on any qualitative factors whatsoever. It's purely stats, I believe. There's no voting at all. College football used to be
and
that
the
way.
UFC is trying to make fights that will sell
tickets.
pay-per-views.
Yes, exactly.
Right? And so they will elevate somebody. I mean, this is the critique of Sean O'Malley, right? Another guy with very bright hair. He posts TikToks of himself, smoking weed and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then has been put in his place fairly recently. But again, they would call it Dana White privilege, right? So which is like a fighter who's entertaining, loud enough, enough of a draw.
Yeah.
But if you look at the pound for pound rankings, there's some guys on there that over time, the pound for pound ranking tends to reflect somebody's actual athletic abilities.
Totally.
You have Ilya, Islam, Merab, Tom Aspinall, and Alexandre Pantoja, who are all ultimately just incredible
fighters,
athletes.
Yeah.
And a lot of the loudmouths will end up getting paid quite well,
Sure.
but they're not necessarily getting on that pound for pound ranking.
Yeah. There is a little bit of a dynamic of that in traditional professional sports where I believe like the MLB is basically hoping for Dodgers, Yankees in the World Series like every single time because the Dodgers and the Yankees have like the biggest fan bases. So broadly, there will be more people tuning into that than say two teams facing off from second or third tier cities. But there's no world where, going into the Super Bowl, there's really like, a lot of trash talking going on. But like,
it's just looked down on. There's an
tried that
interesting
with
story.
the XFL.
Colby Covington,
who
has fought for a championship, I think a couple times, never won. He was at a point in the UFC where he was facing getting cut. Mm-hmm. He was just not really doing that well. Yeah. And he decided to basically completely rebrand himself as a heel and just say the most offensive possible things he could say. He came out loudly in support of Trump when that was much less popular.
Sure.
He would post videos of himself with like seemingly OnlyFans creators, adult entertainers, and it totally actually turned around his career, and he ended up again, he didn't actually fight and win, didn't win any titles, and probably never will, but it definitely turned his career around.
Well, if you're looking to talk some trash about your competitors when you're selling your product, you got to do it in ADIO, Customer Relationship Magic. ADIO is the AI native CRM that builds, scales, and grows your company to the next level.
Not endorsed by ADIO, but endorsed by John at this moment. Your CRM should look like WWE.
Exactly.
Right? You
Exactly.
should be really getting into it with people.
You're using our competitor. Take a look at this deal card and tell me you don't want to switch right now. Channel Hulk Hogan in your next BDR meeting. Sheil has a good post here announcing some news. Tesla is telling staff internally that it plans to roll out its robotaxi service in San Francisco this weekend, and they'll include Marin, much of the East Bay, and San Francisco, and stretch south to San Jose. This will be crazy if it goes through this weekend. I mean, it's going to come soon. Will be very interesting to see because I imagine that driving in San Francisco is a little bit harder than driving in Austin. But there's a ton of people that have Teslas and have been driving around San Francisco for a decade or more now with cameras. So they should have a lot of data. They should be trained.
I think the robotaxis will be fine. If the robotaxis were a Tesla humanoid driving stick shift, they'd have a really rough time in San Francisco. You ever driven stick in San Francisco?
No, but it is extremely hard on the hills. Maybe once. I think I actually once did it. It's really bad.
My first car, Toyota, 20-year-old Toyota stick shift. And I would drive it into San Francisco. And it was already at a time where people were just assumed everybody was in an automatic. And so you'd pull up on just like the most steep hill and somebody would come up, right behind you, park, an inch away from you. And it's very exhilarating. So I think they'll do fine. It will be interesting though, like, are the robotaxis going to be like followed by another car?
Well, they'll probably have safety drivers in them for a while. Yeah. Right. And they'll probably be teleoperated for a while. The question I think is just like, will we see memes on X of people switching? Because we've seen a lot of people in San Francisco post I think what is it? Justine Moore from Andreessen Horowitz said that she hit her like 500th Waymo ride. Like people
crazy.
Truly just use Waymo
more.
constantly, and they've really shifted from Uber to Waymo. And so, will they shift again to Tesla? Will they be dual using? Will one be cheaper? Will it be a price war, capital war? What's going to happen there? Finally, they're going to head to head, so it'll be interesting to follow. Well, no matter what you think of Tesla, whether you're long or you're short, do it on public.com. Investing for those who take it seriously. They got multi-asset investing, industry-leading yields, and they're trusted by millions, folks. In other news, if you're not looking to take a robo-taxi, I would recommend picking up this 2025 Ferrari SF90XX.
Great call.
It's $2.3 million. It's a stunning example here, loaded with over $100,000 in options. And everyone will know that you are not just rich, but wealthy, because this car is probably going to depreciate like crazy.
I don't know. How many of these are they?
Around?
How many of the XX are they making?
Well, the original SF90 priced at $700,000, $800,000, but it was not a limited production run. And so it has traded down to about half that price. Very unfortunate for the SF90 buyers in the audience. Our hearts go out to you after taking such a bath, but you can make it all back on an SF90XX.
I love the XX, I gotta say.
Now, what
it's basically
is the XX a street legal car? They do this weird thing where they make a road car, then they make it a track car, and then they make the track car a road car version, and we've gone kind of back and forth and back and forth. But I think this is the road version of the track car version of the road car. Is that right? I think I'm right.
I think you're right. The chat will correct us quickly.
I'm pretty
if
sure
we're wrong.
I'm pretty sure the XX series is they took it, they got it ready for the track, and then they dialed it back to where it was street legal again. Anyway, you got to pick this up, folks. It's a steal.
John
2.3.
Exley in the chat says, just got a notification from the FT. Anthropic is reportedly raising capital from the Middle East at a valuation north of $150 billion.
150.
Trying
wow.
to find the link.
That is wild.
Love to see it.
But I'm sure.
Seems like every company in the world is using Claude Code.
Yeah.
Maybe even OpenAI.
Yeah.
It's just that good. Yep, so the article went up 11 minutes ago. Artificial intelligence startup Anthropic is in early talks. Okay, not advanced talks.
Early talks.
No term sheet yet. At more than double its valuation to more than $150 billion in a new funding round, giving it additional firepower to keep pace with rivals building advanced models.
Okay.
Its preliminary stages has received interest, which was a massive jump from their current $61 billion price tag. So it sounds like they're talking with MGX, Abu Dhabi's AI fund. And again, coming off that nice memo that they had that leaked earlier this week saying something to the effect of bad. He basically said bad.
They're bad.
Bad people are going to make money on this. He said, unfortunately, I think no bad person should ever benefit from our success is a pretty difficult principle to run a business on.
That's the worst quote. The quote you should drop is, I can change him. I can change him.
I can
wait until he, if he's doing something bad over there, wait until he starts talking to Claude. And he's like, yeah, maybe I should be nicer. Maybe I should just get into the Golden Gate Bridge. Have him chat with Golden Gate Bridge Claude for a while, cheer him up, and whoever Dario's worried about, get him on the straight and narrow.
It's just so funny because it's like how much does Anthropic rely on sovereign investment from the Middle East already for their business?
Oh, just through the VCs,
just through
the pass-through
all
vehicles?
life, right?
Oh.
Right. All life, right?
Yeah.
They're a key player
Dario
in the global economy,
hops in an Uber.
and it's just. I mean, I've been to the UAE twice and met so many amazing people and share.
I've never been to the UAE. I've been to Qatar, and it was cool.
Yeah.
And other than that, I don't think I've been to anywhere in the Middle East. Maybe I should go. I don't know. Need to do a world tour.
I met a buddy of mine, a now friend. When I met him, he showed me he had his formal wear on, and he got it custom made to have
Unlike you, Casual Friday over
Casual
here.
Friday over here. Sorry,
Slacking
folks.
off.
Sorry, folks. And he had a custom insert for his vape,
Okay.
and then extra cartridges
Wow.
on the side.
That's pretty sick. Who's that suit
custom
designer that
tailoring.
does extra pockets everywhere? That's like a thing. Is that
I'm not
Theo?
gonna.
Okay.
I'm not gonna
You're not gonna
name
drop for
their friend.
Okay,
their friend.
okay.
Accidental pockets.
pockets. Oh, that's great.
Just throw a pocket on.
So these are not advanced talks. These are early talks.
Early talks, preliminary talks.
Yeah, a preliminary talks. Okay,
But they are talking terms. It
Because
sounds like.
there are other preliminary talks going on between us and AdQuick for their next billboard buy. And you could be in advanced talks with AdQuick.
We are in-
if you're interested in making out-of-home advertising easy and measurable, you can say goodbye to the headaches of out-of-home advertising because only AdQuick combines technology, out-of-home expertise, and data to enable efficient, seamless ad buying across the globe.
Given how addicted we are to
Come
out of
on.
home, we're pretty much always in advanced talks.
Always,
with
always.
the good folks
Well,
at AdQuick.
Bernard Arnault is in the paper again. LVMH boss Bernard Arnault seeks to avert the trade war. This is a very interesting article. I wanted to kick it off with a little background on Bernard Arnault. So we have some posts here, one from Speedwell Research. He was explaining the difference between iPhones and Dom Perignon, and the CEO of LVMH says, in 50 years' time, will the iPhone still be used? Or the people who are making it today, will they have found out what will be at the cutting edge at that time? But I believe I can say without being mistaken that in 50 years' time, we will still be drinking Dom Perignon. And I agree.
Iconic.
I agree. Johnny Ive and Sam Altman aren't teaming up to make a champagne brand, baby. They're coming for the iPhone.
The issue is it's hard to create legacy quickly.
It is. Heritage is not made in a day. The other funny thing, this is extremely disrespectful to Apple. Did you know this? So it's disrespectful in multiple ways. One, obviously Apple would say, of course, we'll be around in 50 years. But Apple has a set of rules for PR people, and if you're working with them and you're talking about the iPhone, they have a set of rules for how you talk about the products, and they specifically don't want you to say the iPhone. They say, let's talk about iPhone.
Really?
Yes. And if you watch the keynote, they never say the iPhone. They say iPhone, no the. And this is just like part of their thing, and they have a set of rules that are like, it's like hundreds of pages in this PDF. It's crazy how much control they exert over the like the
I wonder
PR
if you can
style
get
guides.
Siri to say the iPhone.
So they have a bunch of funny things. You're not supposed to say click here. You're not supposed to use App Store generically. You're supposed to capitalize it. You're not supposed to say the device wants, thinks, or tries. Apple prefers a tone that's helpful, not whimsical or personified. You're not supposed to describe the apps that come with the device as free. You're not supposed to say, oh yeah, Apple includes like a free Maps app. You're not supposed to say that if you're doing an iPhone review. And so choose your words wisely if you're trying to get in good graces of Apple's PR team. And I don't think Bernard Arnault will be reviewing the next iPhone with language like this. But maybe people will be using their iPhones to buy Dom Perignon in 50
Max
years.
Meyer highlighted a quote from Bernard Arnault a while back, earlier this year. He says, "When you cannot dream when you talk numbers. When you create desire, profits are a consequence."
So good. You need to be creating desire.
I think this is in reference to the Tiffany's store in New York.
Yes.
Which,
He spent $500 million renovating the Fifth Avenue Tiffany flagship. People were like, that sounds like a lot to spend on a renovation of a single store. He says, you can't dream when you talk numbers. Don't talk numbers, create desire. And if you want to sleep in the Tiffany store of mattresses, get an 8 Sleep. Get a Pod 5 Ultra. It has a 5-year warranty, 30-night risk-free trial, free returns,
exceptional
free
sleep
shipping.
without exception.
So David Senra also has a good quote. Bernard Arnault's advice to himself. In business, I think the most important thing is to position yourself for long-term and not be too impatient, which I am by nature, and I have to control myself. And I think that's a good point. And Senra also highlights 10 highlights about Bernard Arnault. He made a bunch of commitments that were very, very detail-oriented, things that you wouldn't typically notice, but once you'd seen tens of thousands of stores over the years, it's what comes to your mind immediately. He spots any incongruities that might disrupt the aura of opulence he has carefully constructed. Then he reels off texts and emails to his senior executive describing any perceived deficiencies and bullet points of obsessive detail. Arnault's has assembled the world's largest luxury conglomerate and globalized a sector once constrained by the limited ambitions of family-owned European companies encrusted in tradition, very good at in stewarding these brands that probably are owned by families and don't want to part ways if they, it's not just a source of income for the family, but it's also a source of pride to be the owner of a luxury house. But Bernard figures out how to get them to part with it. He believed luxury brands could be larger than anyone at the time imagined.
Yeah, there was that. The acquired as such a good coverage of LVMH, of course, but just how badly he wanted Dior and how it ended up in the hands of this like weird government-owned conglomerate. Anyways, wild story.
He did take over Dior. So
Yep.
It had 3 stores in the equivalent of $90 million in sales when he acquired it. Now it has 439 stores. So, I mean, a massive growth and $9.5 billion in sales. He 100x the business. Absolutely insane.
It's wild how bullish he was, despite probably not being able to predict social media early on. Like you could kind of identify flex culture just maybe in a cafe or a restaurant.
Totally.
But scaling flex culture in the way that Instagram and social media did has been incredible.
So if you're looking for a luxury watch, get on Bezel. Go to getbezel.com. Your Bezel concierge is available now to source you any watch on the planet, seriously, any watch. So let's talk about how he's working behind the scenes to avert a trade war. President Trump's efforts to secure a trade deal with the European Union have the help of an old, powerful friend, luxury titan Bernard Arnault. The LVMH chief has spent recent weeks shuttling between Europe's capitals, meeting with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, pressing them to agree to a deal along the lines of the one Trump reached with Japan this week. He has spoken to the president, seeking to de-escalate tensions with Brussels. Arnault is also hedging his bets. He plans to open another Louis Vuitton factory in Texas, a move partly credited with sparing the luxury industries from tariffs during Trump's first term. I'm pushing as much as I can for us to reach an agreement with the Americans so that we don't get caught up in a trade war, which would be extremely damaging for European businesses, Arnault said in an interview at LVMH's headquarters in Paris. Much is now at stake for Arnault. On Thursday, LVMH reported a 22% fall in first-half net profit, hit by sharp decline in sales as its core fashion and leather goods division that includes Louis Vuitton and Christian Dior. The company is contending with a range of challenges. China, long the luxury industry's growth engine, is in a protracted economic slump, and consumer confidence in the U.S., which accounts for 1/3 of the group's sales, has been shaken by uncertainty over tariffs. Then some consumers are now questioning the inherent value of luxury goods after years of price rises. That's insane. Who are these consumers? It's ridiculous. Investors, meanwhile, are scrutinizing whether the business model of LVMH, a conglomerate of more than 75 brands that ranges from cosmetics retailer Sephora to Hennessy Cognac, is built for a world with rising trade barriers and deepening geopolitical uncertainty. LVMH's shares are down more than 30% since January. They are one of the durable losers because the S&P 500 and the Mag 7 have both dropped down probably around 20-30% in some cases during the post Liberation Day tariffs, but they all bounce back. And now Jensen's running a $4 trillion company.
LVMH is bouncing
Everyone's
back.
figured
It's
it
been
out.
rocky over the last week, but they're up 11% over the last 30 days. But like you said, down 27% in the last 6 months, but only down 10% year to date. They've been growing nicely into the new year.
So Arnault pioneered the luxury brand conglomerate in an era when the world economy was opening up. Lots of trade, a burgeoning middle class around the globe fueled a decades-long boom in luxury spending that made him one of the world's richest men. Now, LVMH's two biggest markets, the U.S. and China, are at loggerheads with Europe and Arnault caught in the middle. Trump is demanding European countries move manufacturing to the United States to avoid tariffs, a tall order for luxury brands that market their wares as made in Europe with old world craftsmanship. That's a very good point. Arnault, yeah, it is funny to imagine a Birkin bag made in Texas. It's just like it just doesn't feel right. It's not the brand. So Arnault said that while LVMH is strong enough to ride out the slowdown, other luxury companies were getting exposed. Echoing Warren Buffett, he added that when the tide goes out, you see who's been swimming without a swimsuit. For Arnault, the luxury downturn is temporary, not a structural shift, and successful investors often do the opposite of stock market players, who he called a bit sheep-like. Shots fired. LVMH's array of labels gives the group scale to attract top talent, like creative directors and designers, secure prime retail locations, and negotiate favorable media rates by buying in bulk, according to the billionaire. In periods when the economic climate is more difficult, when markets slow down, which is the case today, we tend to come out stronger. Arnault is putting his money where his mouth is. His family holding company have bought more than $1 billion of LVMH shares since the end of January, regulatory filings show. So he's buying back in, increasing his stake. He said that put them on the track to own more than half of LVMH's stock by the start of next year. The most urgent order of the business, however,
got some
is
breaking news,
Please.
John. LVMH is in talks to sell Marc Jacobs.
Oh, wow.
Michael Miraflor in the chat again, just
Thank
breaking news, delivering insights. Not super surprised to see this news. It feels like Marc Jacobs, I don't know any people or in and around our world that are super excited to buy whatever's coming down the Marc Jacobs runway. So anyways, LVMH is in discussions to sell fashion brand Marc Jacobs in a deal that could fetch around $1 billion, according to people familiar with the matter. They've been discussing deals with multiple parties, including Reebok owner Authentic. Authentic, I think, is... we should try to have the CEO on sometime. They basically buy up... let me list all their brands. But they buy up brands that are, honestly, I hate to say it, aging out a little bit. Not necessarily aging out, but losing some relevancy. Reebok, Champion, Nautica, Aeropostale, Eddie Bauer, Brooks Brothers, Billabong, Quicksilver, Juicy Couture, etc. So they buy these brands seemingly when they're in decline, and then try to kind of make them more relevant. I think the strategy has generally worked pretty well. And I could see them reinvigorating Marc Jacobs, but not surprising. It just doesn't feel like it's in the same category as many of the other LVMH brands.
Yeah. The thing that I remember about Marc Jacobs was that at one point they had a line called Marc by Marc Jacobs, which I thought was just hilarious and recursive and tautological. Of course it's by Marc Jacobs if it's called Marc, but
I would like to see Marc
funny.
Andreessen have a standalone fund in A16Z by Marc Andreessen.
That's
and
really
it's just
good.
his little personal
Get into the
slush
solo
fund.
GP game. Give Alad Gil a run for his money.
I like it.
But the key turnaround strategy, if you're trying to turn around Marc Jacobs or increase Aeropostale or Nautica, of course, put Sydney Sweeney in the ad. That's the move. Overfit quantitative strategies has the meme. You find your target audience, craft a compelling message, reach them through experience marketing. Storytelling is key. Long-term brand loyalty is the end goal. And they say this marketing thing is easy. You just put Sydney Sweeney in the ad. And of course, that's referring to, what is it, American Eagle?
American Eagle, are they already owned by Authentic Brands?
No, maybe. I don't know. Anyway.
No, American Eagle is publicly listed. Right.
And the new CEO is making moves, putting Sydney Sweeney in ads and absolutely printing and bringing new relevancy to that brand.
I mean, wild. They're up 16% over the past 5 days.
When was the last time people were talking
Sydney Sweeney effect.
When was the last time people were talking about American
I
Eagle?
wonder. I really wonder how much they paid her for this
Yeah.
because she clearly could. I mean, probably it would be hard for her to capture the real value of this.
Totally.
If
Well,
her
was
manager
what was the market cap move? Like how much? What's their market cap? And you said
sitting at
15%?
$2 billion, up 16% over the past 5
yeah,
days.
that's 300 million. So
Yeah.
Sydney, if
I
you
doubt-
got less than 200 million, call us. We'll help you negotiate the next one because you deserve every
Yeah,
penny
the
of that.
question is
That's a
how
cool
many
Mustang,
how
too.
many
That's
times
a great ad.
how many
I've
times
actually seen
and
this
this
ad.
apparently somebody called out the second part of this ad
Oh, this is a
was
reference
made with
to-
AI.
Oh, really?
So
Interesting.
look when the car is driving away.
Okay.
So
she
she's
gets
getting
it.
in the car.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is real.
Interesting. Okay.
Could have been fake news.
Oh, and then it transitions.
Yeah, I don't
she's
think
actually
she was
driving
doing
at
that
the end.
burnout.
Yeah,
I
the
don't think
burnout
so.
would be really hard to do in a soundstage like that. That feels really, really difficult to
Well, some
do
deep
reliably.
TBPN lore.
Yes.
Our production team went to college film school
Yeah.
with Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm supposed to say that,
Doxed.
but I just doxed
Yeah,
you
it's
guys.
fine. Anyway, I am a podcast crossover accelerationist.
You are.
I posted this last night. I'm not satisfied with Sam Altman on Theo Von. I want Tyler Cowen on Hot Ones. I want Dylan Patel on Nelk Boys. And I want Sarah Payne on Impulsive. Had some fun with this. People are really into this.
Imagine the Hot Ones audience interacting with watching Tyler Cowen
It'd be hilarious. It'd be amazing.
the all time.
All of these are good ideas that would go viral. I want more of these crazy crossovers. And I was thinking about it, like the Sam Altman on Theo Von. This is a formula that it feels very new, but it has happened before. And I was thinking about, are you familiar with Loveline? So back in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was a radio show.
You were like, what, 30?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to date you.
Please. There was a show, a daily radio show. I think it was an hour or two hosts, not unlike this one, but it was between
Lindy.
Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew. And they played different characters because they were different people. One was a comedian who would kind of make fun of every situation that came up, and the other one was a doctor, like a clinically trained psychiatrist or psychologist. And so people would call in with their relationship situations, kind of the precursor to the T app. Am I dating the same man?
We got to talk
Is
about the
this-
T app, by the way.
We do. They were recently hacked, apparently, and everything is leaked on 4chan
Is it even
now.
a hack if it was publicly accessible?
It is crazy. You would expect a Salesforce PM to be able to lock down the database a little bit better, but
Data walls.
we will see how true that is. I saw some community notes out there. I want to hold my judgment until I see really how
I
bad this is,
mean,
because this could be something
there's
that people.
apparently a
Could be
like a
It could be fake. It could be AI generated images in there. It could be all sorts of things. You know, we don't know. I'm reserving my judgment until I see it printed in paper. I need it in the Wall Street Journal to believe it. I don't know. But this Loveline show was very popular. People would call in with relationship problems. Oh, I think this person's cheating on me, or how do I find a date? This type of thing. And then Dr. Drew would give a very serious psychological analysis as a doctor. He's actually like a board certified psychologist, I believe. And then
one of us should become a
and
doctor.
then Adam Carolla would be just the jokester, just the comedian, and he would just like have a lot of fun. It was a very good show. It was very successful, and it went on a massive run. And then they kind of like scattered to the wind and did their own things eventually. But this putting two people together that have different interests, it actually creates something new and beautiful. And I think it's a case for getting Tyler Cowen on Hot Ones. I'd like to see it. We need to brainstorm some more. If you have ideas, let us know in the chat. What crossovers do you
It
want to see?
was a crazy week. It was
pushing
just a
this.
wild week in podcasting. I think I said it yesterday.
Yeah.
But Netanyahu on the Nelk Boys.
That was also a
Sam
wild
Altman
crossover.
on Theo Von.
Yep. There's been other crossovers. I mean, when Mark Zuckerberg went on Theo, that was crazy. There were also
Was it who was the but Alex from Scale was the first.
he had done
was he
that
one of the
too,
first
one of the
to
first
go on
tech
Theo?
people to go on
Yeah.
Theo. I mean, a while ago, like years ago, I said like tech is like truly crossing over because there were 3 back-to-back tech people on Rogan. So Peter Thiel did it, Mark Andreessen did it, and Mark Zuckerberg did it. And so it was like, oh, wow, like tech has really like crossed over into the mainstream going on Rogan. And I was advocating that they should get Pat Gelsinger from Intel, Jensen Huang from NVIDIA, and then the wild
the way to save Intel
Morris
is
Chang
really,
from
we need,
TSMC.
we need Intel to trade like a meme stock and access.
Get
some-
Lip Bhutan on Theo immediately.
Immediately.
Make it happen. Put him on the Whatever podcast. That's what I want. Put him on Fresh and Fit. Get Lip Bhutan on Fresh and Fit. That's what we need.
Something
sure.
there. Should we cover the T news since we're already talking about
break it down and give me the facts. Put it in the truth zone.
So Cremu posted earlier,
Yes.
the T app has been hacked and you can now download 59 gigabytes of user selfies right now. The hack is real. A picture from
Okay.
someone I know who signed up just to see what was on there was in it.
Mm-hmm.
This was obviously a vibe-coded app and was bound to be insecure. So it is over on 4chan,
Okay.
as well as proof of what it took. So
Yeah.
Cremu
So-
says, if you ever wanted to see people's selfies without filters, I've got the dump for you.
Okay. If Cremu is reporting it in that way, I'm a believer now. This is a
Cremu
this is
says
rough.
free unicorn startup idea security audits for vibe-coded apps.
Ooh, that is interesting. I would be. There was a company that was doing AI agents for cybersecurity, and they were saying that the problems of cybersecurity were actually beyond the capabilities of the current state-of-the-art models, and they were still having trouble getting their product fully polished.
John.
What's this?
Well, one, Cremu has another app idea, facial recognition that warns you if a date was trying to use this godforsaken app.
Okay. There was somebody
flipping the script.
also vibe coded the opposite app for men to check on are we dating the same woman or something along those lines, and so that was somewhat
Yeah,
inevitable.
we won't say the name of that one. These apparently one of the users of the T app is at the U.S. Department of Defense. She used an official ID card in order to get access to the app. So
Yeah. There's a lesson in here. Touch grass. Anyway, anything else on the T app today?
I think that's it. It's very unfortunate. I actually feel bad for all the people that are
Data
getting
breaches
their
suck.
pictures
Hopefully
leaked.
it's one of those situations where it's just like so big and messy that it doesn't actually affect any single person. It's just kind of like, okay. Because like I'm sure like my credit card details have been leaked in some sort of, I'm pretty sure like Home Depot got hacked or Walmart got hacked. My email's out there. I get random phone calls. My phone number's been leaked. And it's just part of life now that like stuff is out there. I have old selfies that are on the internet. If you Google me, there's old pictures from like, I signed up for a music website and I put an image on there.
One thing,
it's like somewhat embarrassing, but who cares?
Interesting on the T app.
Yeah.
A couple days ago, T-Born, which was a copycat of T, was the number 3 app. Now it's not even in the top 100 from what I can
Sort of
see.
a flash in the pan situation. Interesting. Were they monetizing the T app? Were they actually like getting $20 in-app purchases going? Because
I'm
it
sure.
feels like if you're going viral and you're at the top of the app store and you're not cashing in at that moment, you made a huge, huge mistake.
Yeah. Sam Lambert says, CEO of Planet Scale, says new training data set just dropped. If you signed up for the T app, you were already being used to train the next Ghibli.
The next VO or something like that. That's rough. Is it tagged? I guess it's a pretty well tagged data set too. That is crazy. I mean, I used to reverse engineer APIs when I was a kid and kind of figure out, like if you went to an app, you could do this thing where you would kind of man in the middle yourself. So typically when you open up an app, the flow is it goes from your iPhone, it makes the request to the back end, which is a server. It hits a API dot the app you're using, and it goes over your Wi-Fi. So what you could do is you could have it route to your laptop and then to the Wi-Fi, pass the signal along essentially, and you could see all of the requests and all the data that was going back and forth, and you could see the actual API that you were interacting with, and oftentimes you could get kind of like, it was usually against terms of service to really do anything with this data, but you could see the data that's going back and forth, and you could get the undocumented API. So there's like the public API where you need a key, and they're like, hey, if you're going to use it a lot, you got to pay us. But then there's the private API that's used for the app, and that's what's going on here. But usually you can't just get into the database. Usually it's like, okay, I could get my Twitter feed sent to me in JSON form, and that's like maybe a nice to have if you're hacking an app or something and just hacking something together. You want digest of your own data, you can just scrape it out without needing to scrape the HTML. But lots of companies have locked that down. Certainly all the big ones have encrypted the stuff, so you can't do it. This seems like it was very poorly built. So good luck to everyone involved. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of long nights and weekends fixing all those bugs.
I went back and forth on email with the CEO.
Yeah.
I think it was on Wednesday morning, and I think it's probably good that he's not joining because he's got some work to do. It sounds like they've secured the database now, but a little bit too late.
Yeah,
I think
stole
the data is already out there.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Levered Lloyd on X has an interesting startup idea here that he's been running. He says, every summer I open a new bar in the Hamptons, cheapest lease I can find, just enough plumbing to pass inspection. Hire smoke show bartenders, book a wash DJ, and bring in TikTok influencers to call it a hidden gem. $5 Costco tenders become a $100 tender tower. Kirkland vodka, $25 a shot.
Wow.
Reject 95% at the door to create fake exclusivity. No resi, no signage. Kids max out credit cards for clout. Staff's underpaid. Tips are guilt tripped. Clear $2 million by Labor Day. Same scam, new name next year. We don't sell drinks. We sell delusion. Have fun staying broke, suckers.
This feels like fan fiction, but fantastic post, Levered Lloyd. I would love to know if
this
you
is
actually
basically.
Do this. It feels like kind of real, maybe exaggerated a little bit. Definitely seems possible. Wow.
I would argue that this is not actually a scam. This is just marketing genius.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, it is genius. It definitely exposes a very
Unless he's
fundamental
selling
truth.
Kirkland vodka and saying that it's Grey Goose, people that they say, oh, it's the same. It's the same alcohol.
If you're out in the Hamptons, you got to be suspicious. But he should do this 45 years in a row, bank $90 million, $2 million a year, and then he should buy this beautiful house that's for sale from the founder of Vitamin Shop.
I'll be right back.
It's an $89 million Hamptons home, and it's in the mansion section of the Wall Street Journal, the Friday edition. Let's read through this. So this is from the Vitamin Shop founder. You've probably been there picking up creatine or something like that. It says, it pays to take your vitamins. Jeffrey Horowitz, founder of the nutritional supplements retailer Vitamin Shop, is putting his oceanfront Hamptons estate on the market for $89 million. The 3.5 acre property in Sagaponack, New York, has a 9-hole golf course on it. That's incredible. I believe Emily Sundberg was telling us about Sagaponack, that it's extremely delightful because it's a microclimate. Everyone wants to be there. The listing agent is Ryan Serhant of Serhant Brokerage, a fantastic social media influencer, content creator, and real estate broker. Has a massive team pumping out a ton of cool content. I've seen a lot of what he's built, and the business that he's built is absolutely fantastic. So excited to see that he is listing this $89 million 9-hole golf course 3.5 acre home. It also has an arcade. That's very cool. So the property's 2 parcels are also available separately. The 2 acres containing the houses are priced at $75 million, while the golf course on 1.5 acres can be had for $15 million. So if you're looking to pinch pennies, you can just pick up the golf course and deal with the house later. Maybe sleep in the putting green on a tent. Horowitz and his wife, Helen Horowitz, bought the land in the mid-90s for about $2.68 million and built the estate in 1998, according to property records. The Horowitz declined to comment. Interesting. Usually they throw something in here. Earlier this year, the estate was quietly shopped off the market for $125 million. Now it's down about 30% cheaper. What a bargain. It's now being offered for $89 million. Who said an $80 million waterfront house recently went into contract in East Hampton. A nearby waterfront home in Sagaponack is asking $85 million, Serhant said. The contemporary home has 8 bedrooms and measures about 9,000 square feet. Features include an outdoor pool and a video game arcade with pinball, racing games.
Does it have a movie theater?
Air hockey. Let's figure that out for sure. A pavilion.
Did air hockey fall off?
It did, for sure. It's dead. Don't do it. I don't know. Air hockey, never been big into that whole world.
Really?
Kind
Not
of
even
displaced by video games, movie theaters.
It really was a physical. It felt like a physical video game.
We got Mark Zuckerberg's trying to disrupt air hockey with the new virtual reality, augmented reality glasses. We played basically a version of that. The Orion headset you put on and you see a hologram and you kind of play Pong with each other. It's kind of a modern version of air hockey. So who needs?
I got the data here. The air hockey table market is set to reach $3.6 billion in 2024. 7.7% CAGR.
Cursor for air hockey. Let's race for it now. It's a massive market.
Uber for air hockey.
Let's do it. Horowitz, who is an avid golfer, built the golf course with views of nearby Fairfield Pond. 9 holes. Got really mogging your buddy in Malibu with the 3-hole golf course or whatever.
People say there's no golf in Malibu, and there's a private golf course in the center of Malibu, right by the Country Mart. You can't really see it because there's a fence, but there's just one guy. I think it's a 5-hole par 3. I've never played it, but nobody really ever plays it.
You can because it's private. So the Horowitzes also have homes in New York City and on Florida's Fisher Island. They are selling because their children are grown. They founded the Vitamin Shop in 1977. I didn't realize it was so long ago. Right during the Hulk Hogan rise. Hulk Hogan's rising. You got to get bulky like Hogan.
Whey protein.
The Hulkster, you're going to go get some whey protein, some creatine. The New Jersey-based company was sold to Bear Stearns for about $300 million in 2002. I had no idea that Bear Stearns did a buyout.
He then became an executive at Vitacost.
Oh, wow.
Which then sold to Kroger in 2014.
What an absolute dog. This guy's a boardroom general. You love to see it. Homes in the Hamptons are traded
for the KPIs in orbit, John.
He clearly did put the KPIs in orbit. It's funny because, this is a lost art. You start a company, you sell it to a bank. People don't do that. Bear Stearns, I don't know. Not around anymore, unfortunately. The most expensive home ever sold in the Hamptons was a $137 million East Hamptons sale in 2014, according to Jonathan Miller. Seems like a decent house. I'm not too big into golf, so I'm not that into it. I won't be bidding on that one, but you can if you're looking for a golf estate in the Hamptons. But I do want to go through this article because we got to have a debate.
So, which one is that? Because I think we should cover the drama in the air.
In the Hamptons, yes. Let's stay with Emily Sundberg, and then we'll go to my
Sundberg got the scoop. She says, feel like I'm losing my mind seeing a candle brand fly influencers to the Hamptons on a private plane for a brand trip with My Candles Fly Private pillows. Her post was going viral.
Yes.
I wish what is the name of the candle company is the problem. I can't see it anywhere. It's unclear. The candle's got to be pretty good if they're flying private.
The candle is Hotel Lobby Candle. That's the name of the candle company. Hotel Lobby Candle. You can go check them out if you want. They didn't take off. Okay, I have I'm doing some capital J journalism right now with Preston Holland. The private jet.
Preston says.
Oh, you talked to him?
He's calling it out. He says this is a King Air.
Yeah, so I triggered
It's also on the ground, parked and put to bed. See the ground outside and windshield cover on.
Windshield cover's on. The screens are off, so they might not have even taken off. It's King Air. The windows are too small. He said it might be a CJ3, which is a small like Cessna Citation type plane. Still beautiful, but I really think so. Emily Sundberg's take here is that there was backlash because, it's just a candle brand. What are they doing flying private? Emily Sundberg says there was backlash.
I gotta say they have a Hamptons candle. They have a Hamptons Reed diffuser. Mm-hmm. They have the poolside candle. Kind of makes sense for them to do an influencer trip out there.
But did
This is why,
or did they just get on the plane, get off, and then hop in a car? That's the conspiracy theory. Put the tinfoil hat on.
There you go.
Anyway, we both have straw man hats today. But I think that the big problem here is that why didn't they go with the BBJ? They should have gotten the 747.
A wrapped BBJ.
Wrapped 747 in the VIP configuration. Only nation states have access to it.
Just borrow the one that came over for Trump.
Yeah.
From
Get
Qatar.
that, wrap it, sell the most candles ever. That's the real solution to this problem. I don't know. I think it sounds fun, very cool, interesting activation. This is something that Emily's been talking about, this idea that that like more brands are doing like influencer parties, sponsoring things. And I've never really gotten into that.
Your
on the
Instagram is
buy-side.
Your Instagram is entirely cars and watches and bodybuilding, so you wouldn't have seen the rise of influencer trips.
Maybe I do though. Maybe I do, and maybe some of that content is generated.
It's
at
actually
influencer
really.
trips.
I mean, it's really. I mean, you is looking at the pure economics of it. You could pay an influencer $10,000 for a post or $5,000 for a post, or you could plan a trip that it's going to cost you $10,000 per influencer to come on.
Yep.
And then, but you might get hundreds of
Tons
posts,
of organic
right?
stuff. Yeah, I have a friend who's an influencer, and some tequila brand paid for like a whole like just party at her house with her friends, and they were just like, just have the tequila there, show people, and maybe it shows up in the background, but like you don't really have any deliverables. It's very, very interesting. I wonder if there is an agency that sits in between. Have you ever run into that in the influencer ad buying world?
Sorry, you said retainers?
So what I'm talking about is like you built a business where you match brands with influencers, particularly on YouTube, for host-read ad reads, correct?
Yes.
That's a good description. Yes. I'm wondering if there's a line extension for your business or potentially a new business for a firm, an independent firm that brokers these contracts and makes sure that they happen seamlessly. So it's easier for a company like Hotel Candles. What's it called?
Hotel Lobby Candles.
Hotel Lobby Candles. They say, we want to make a private jet plane trip happen to the Hampton with some great influencers, but we don't have all the mechanics to make it happen. We want it to look good. We want our product there. We want some special pillows on the seats. We want the plane rented. We want, there was also like a custom floor mat that they stepped on as they stepped onto the plane.
Very nice.
There were some photos. And so I'm wondering if there is a world where an agency could spring up. Maybe there's already an agency that brokers these types of deals, because right now they seem very one-off, but they seem like they're growing in trend. What do you think?
Yeah, I think there's plenty of agencies that do that kind of thing.
Sure.
I also feel like this is the kind of things that brands want to actually own end to end. You want to have deep relationships with specific influencers and have it not feel like entirely like the person only came because they were getting paid or because it was free. So
maybe it lives within the brand.
Certain influencer deals make sense to do kind of programmatically. Others make a lot of sense to go direct.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go back to real estate and the mansion section of the Wall Street Journal, because I want to debate the nature of what makes a house special. Do you need a weird quirk? And this is from their section called In the Trenches, which I love. Commonly used in the crypto world, also used in the mansion section of the Wall Street Journal. So Robin, In the Trenches, has an article called Batman's Cave and Secret Bathrooms. And there's a question here. What's the most unusual design feature you've ever encountered in a home you've listed or showed? So Andrew Klima, a real estate agent in Seven Fields, Pennsylvania, says, I recently listed Castle Bristlecone, a 23,500 square foot property in Gibsonia, Pennsylvania, about a half an hour north of Pittsburgh, which sold for, guess how much it sold for, Jordy? It's a 23,000. Yeah. Oh, did you already see this? 3.8. 3.8. You nailed it. Wow.
I was looking up an image of it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But when you hear 23,000 square feet in LA,
you think 20
mil.
mil. Easily.
50,
Yeah,
100.
easily. So it was definitely the most unusual home I've ever listed or shown. There was a replica of Batman's office from the television show, not the movies. On the desk was the iconic red bat phone and a bust of Shakespeare. When you tilted Shakespeare's head back, a bookcase slid open and two poles appeared. There were poles for both Batman and Robin, and if you slid down them, you reached the Batcave below, which was the basement of the house. The owners built the house in 2008, and they liked eccentric things and also things that were part of their life. Since they were interested in movies and TV production, they included Batman's office.
Naturally.
There was a chapel which was a replica of Heinz Memorial Chapel where they had gotten married. There was a bedroom that was a replica of a hotel room at the Hotel del Coronado where they spent their honeymoon. All of the important pieces
This is
in their
textbook.
life.
You can just do things.
This is amazing. And I'm so pro this. It's ridiculous. I think everyone should do this at some point in their life. Build a project that consumes you. It probably took them a decade to make this, and they spent so much money
selling
on
it for
who knows? Yeah,
$3.8 million.
Yeah, it probably, if they didn't have all these weird quirks, it probably would have sold for twice as much. But that's not what life's about,
I
baby.
think the whole thing holding back the price was most likely because it was in Gibsonia, Pennsylvania.
What's wrong with Gibsonia, Pennsylvania? That seems like a great place to hang out. Probably the future of technology and innovation. Maybe an AI company going in there soon. All the important pieces of their life were designed into their home. The Batman office was so iconic that when the bookcase opened, it blew my mind. I jumped right on the pole and slid down, says the real estate agent. So there's another one here. There's a few others. So Alex Mikas, a real estate agent in Oakland, said, in September, my business partner and I listed a 5-bedroom contemporary home in Oakland called Sky House. The masterpiece of the home was a 1,000 square foot glass veranda that was created from 28 tons of industrial glass. The owner considered it a piece of art. From this vantage point, you not only had fantastic views across the hillside and out to San Francisco Bay, but since the veranda was made of glass, you could see into the family room below it. Walking out from the kitchen onto the glass floor was not a comfortable experience. I'm afraid of heights, so it took a bit of trust to walk out there. It gets even scarier when you go toward the railing because a drop to the ground 30 feet below is visible there through the glass. Many people who came to see the house were timid about walking onto the glass, and several asked if they needed to take their shoes off. Of course, the glass did create some issues. Women were not excited about the balcony because of the optics from below. And when we planned the open house, we wondered if we should tell people not to wear dresses. But the veranda got us a lot of exposure for the house, and it sold in 2 months to an out-of-town buyer for $2.655 million, just shy of the asking price. Then there's another one. Chip Madsen says, in February, this is in Las Vegas, I sold a 3-bedroom, 4-bathroom home on the 10th hole of Canyon Gate Golf Course in Las Vegas, right near Andreessen Horowitz's new headquarters, I imagine, for $1.7 million. It had all of the usual luxury features that you expect in a home of this caliber, but one feature I didn't expect when I first saw the home was a cabana bath by the pool that was hidden behind a rock wall. This was not the only unusual bath in the house. There was also a secret bathroom located behind a bookcase in the family room. But the one by the pool was hidden behind a giant rock wall with a lazy river streaming above it. And anyone who walked in was taken by surprise because when you turned on the light, you realized you were in a rock cavern, but with a full bath. The walls and ceiling were built to resemble the contours of a cave, and it was all done in various brown tones to resemble the rock walls of an actual cave.
Speaking of caves,
yes,
we should pull up Sam on Theo Vaughn. Sam is talking about his bunker. If we can pull up the video.
Oh, yeah, I want to pull up that. Do you have the timestamp already?
Yep.
There's another one here from the Modern Family actress, Julie Bowen. She was talking about, today I live with my 3 sons in Toluca Lake in Los Angeles. I bought an updated farmhouse and barn in 2022 following her divorce. Previously, they lived in a beautiful mid-century glass box, but my boys were skateboarding into the walls. Growing up as one of 3 girls, it had its challenges. Now I marvel at the tranquility of my boys. Girls have a million things to say about everything. Boys say nothing. They grunt and eat food. That was a great section in the mention section. Let's pull up Sam Altman on Theo Vaughn and react.
Was there like just a practice, or was it just this verbal reminder, like, I'm going to do this?
I just kept saying it to myself.
Yeah.
I was just like, someday you'll miss these moments. You may as well find a way to like find the happiness and kind of great gratitude for them in the moment.
Yeah. A lot of these guys have bunkers. Zucky has a bunkie. I know that somewhere out in Hawaii.
Zucky has a bunkie?
People have bunkers. Do you have a bunker?
I have like underground concrete heavy reinforced basements, but I don't have any.
It's like not beating the bunker allegations,
Never.
Sam.
Yeah,
You definitely have a
I'll
bunker.
let you keep me
He
on the
just
ropes
describes
in
a
a lot of this
bunker.
conversation, but I am going to call that out as a dang bunker, dude.
That's a bunker. Exactly. It's a bunker.
What's the difference between a basement and a bunker?
Here we go.
A place
Semantics.
you can
What's the
hide
definition
when it
of
all
is?
goes off or whatever.
I have been thinking I should really do a good version of one of those, but I don't have what I would call a bunker, but it has been on my mind. Not because of AI, but just because of like people are dropping bombs in the world again.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
like
That's a good point.
Reasonable.
That's a
I
very
think you
good
should
point.
get a bunker.
Yeah, basin right there. Part of a house building typically used
Oh,
for storage, laundry,
Theo's
extra
fact checking
living
him.
space,
Putting him in the
Putting him in the
truth
truth
zone.
zone.
utilities.
This is
and a
technically a
bunker built
bunker.
for protection, often military or emergency related.
Not beating the bunker
meant to withstand
allegation.
explosion.
I think
we don't
a
have that. Do you guys do
reinforced
this just for me, or do you
basement.
use ChatGPT as the fact check?
Oh, this is
We
cool.
did this just for you.
I appreciate it.
We did this.
This is nice.
If
They're having a good
Okay,
time.
pull up,
having
pull
setups,
up,
you start to see safe.
pull up this other video.
Okay.
It's in the
in the tab.
chat with the team.
Okay.
Sam has some interesting thoughts around sensitive stuff that
Okay.
people might have in
Certainly
ChatGPT.
need
Okay. Oh yeah,
A
people were
legal-
reacting to this a lot.
Policy framework for AI.
Yeah.
One example that we've been thinking about a lot, this is like a, maybe not quite what you're asking. This is like a very human centric version of that question. People talk about the most personal shit in their lives to ChatGPT. It's, you know, people use it. Young
we
people
try to
especially,
bleep
like,
him
use it
out?
as a therapist, a life coach,
Yeah.
having these relationship
Hey,
problems. What
clean
should
up
I
the
do?
clean up the language.
And right now, if you talk to a therapist or a lawyer or a doctor about those problems, there's like legal privilege for it.
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like there's doctor-patient confidentiality, there's legal confidentiality, whatever. And
just doesn't exist on ChatGPT.
we haven't figured that out yet for when you
Yeah.
talk to ChatGPT. So if you go talk to ChatGPT about your most sensitive stuff,
It-
and then
it can
there's
be
like
subpoenaed,
a lawsuit
is
or
what he's
whatever,
saying.
like we could be required to produce that. And I
Exactly,
think that's very
required,
screwed
that's
up.
important.
I think we should have like the same concept of privacy for your conversations with AI that we do with a therapist or whatever. And no one had to think about that even a year ago.
Yeah.
And now I think it's this huge issue of like how
That
are we
makes
going
a
to
ton
treat
of
the law.
sense.
Okay,
on this?
pause, because one thing that's interesting here is that there was a court that successfully has made OpenAI, at least in the near term, save even private chats.
Yeah, but that's true of email. And that's true of chat. And if you commit a crime, you can get subpoenaed and they'll pull your
Sure,
WhatsApp.
sure,
They'll
I'm
pull
just
your
saying-
private messages. Like
Sure,
this
sure,
is
sure.
standard.
Sure. But I think this is a super, super critical issue because I think some people are going to, as an example, you know, let's say they're going through a divorce
Yes.
and they're talking with
Of course,
ChatGPT
of course,
a ton,
of course.
and they're saying,
Yes,
it-
people
it
need to
will
be aware of it
they'll-
for sure.
you know, if you're dealing with like custody over
Yes.
children and the mom or the dad
There's
is
a
saying,
million
I'm actually,
ways
I
it
think
can
I'm a
go
pretty
wrong.
bad parent. Like that
Yeah.
can be used in court.
100%. So people need to be aware of it, and then people need to know that there is another option, which is to go and buy George Hotz's Tiny Box and run Llama locally, and then it probably can't be subpoenaed, or you can have it.
Yeah, just run
delete
Llama
chats.
locally.
It can delete. You could set it up like Signal, where it deletes the chats after a day, and it doesn't have a long memory. But if you give your data to another company, and the United States law enforcement sends a letter, and the judge says we need to get this data, like they're gonna get it. And,
Yep.
and it's the same thing. I mean, the FBI can come in here and take these papers.
Take all of our
Like,
posts.
yeah, they can take our
Take
posts.
our all of our bangers.
And now, like shredders exist, and people shred stuff, and you know you can get in trouble if you're shredding something that you know that the government wants. But in general, document retention policies are you know like understandable. But I like his point that like you should, like, it's not that unreasonable to say, okay, I'm going to be using it as a therapist, put it in therapist mode and keep that private. Or, you know, like a lot of people will CC their lawyer on sensitive things to maintain attorney-client privilege, so that those discussions cannot be admissible in the court of law because you're discussing the legal issue. Because
Yep.
if you could just see someone's other side, it's like, you know, their whole game plan.
Yeah.
Right.
Pull up the segment on UBI. I thought
Okay.
that was
Interesting. Yeah.
Economic model where we share that and distribute that to people. I used to be really excited about things like UBI. I still am kind of excited, like universal basic income, where you just give everybody money.
Yeah, you hear that term a lot. Yeah, universal basic income.
Trump
I heard you
was
and Rogan
talking
talk
about
about that
stimmy
too a
checks
while
again.
back.
I still am kind of excited about that, but I think people really need agency. Like they really need to feel like they have a voice in governing the future and deciding where things go. And I think if you just like say, okay, AI is going to do everything, and then everybody gets like a, you know, dividend from that, it's not going to feel good. And I don't think it actually would be good for people. So I think we need to find a way where we're not just like, if we're in this world where we're not just distributing money or wealth. Like actually, I don't just want like a check every month. What I would want is like a ownership share in whatever the AI creates, so that I feel like I'm participating in this thing that's going to compound and get more valuable over time. So I sort of like universal basic wealth better than universal
Gerstner
basic
pilled.
income. And
He's Gerstner pilled.
I don't like basic either. I want like universal
Brad
extreme
Gerstner.
wealth for everybody.
These are the Gerstner accounts.
But even then, like I think what
If
people
everyone
really
is
want
wealthy,
is
no one is wealthy.
the agency to kind of co-create the future.
Somewhat.
Not true.
No. It's more just like I've always said that like the money doesn't make you happy. It's the second derivative of money that makes you happy. You want to be accelerating the amount of money that makes you happy. Getting the same amount of money. Like if you talk to a billionaire and they're like, I made less money this year than last year, they will be sad. But if you talk to somebody who is making minimum wage and just got a pay raise, they'll be like, this is great. And so the people live off of growth and acceleration. And when you can feel growth and feel acceleration, you feel like you have more claim on things. Your house is getting bigger, your car is getting faster, all these different things express themselves.
Yeah.
And so if you keep everyone this perfectly flat UBI level, it will feel extremely stagnant. And so like if you're giving people a stake in AI, a stake in whatever super intelligence is creating economic value, then they should be getting bigger UBI checks every month effectively.
Yeah. Somewhere else in the interview, he talks about everybody just getting free GPT-7 tokens, like a little allowance. It's like, hey, everybody gets a little bit of GPT-7.
Yeah.
It's up to you to, earn some yield on that intelligence, buddy.
The game theory of that is very odd because I don't know. Yeah, if everyone goes and says make money, do they
Don't
all
make
make the
mistakes.
same? Yeah, do they all make the same amount of money? It's all very odd. I don't know. Anyway, should we do this taste?
Somebody, in 1 second.
Okay.
So I posted 2 days ago. Founder of T Dating Advice was previously a product leader at Salesforce. Massive moment for big
Are
tech
you getting
PMs.
dunked on now?
Never doubt them again. And Yohei says, this did not age well.
That's true. Narrator, you should have doubted them. It was very rough. Bad day for the PMs. Hopefully they can build back better. Well, we have a very exciting segment. We're coming up on that soon. We'll figure out that. Let's go to some timeline. We got a post from Rio saying the browser company is what happens when you get too many designers in a room with no adult supervision. The vibes have really turned on the browser company. Obviously rooting for them to have a hit and get back in the game, but it feels like they're really great at marketing, really great at designing. I understand that, but
Great taste.
not huge penetration of products. And now they're in an extremely.
It's just hard, right?
They were
if
early, right?
If you have a multi-$100 million valuation and you're trying to still iterate towards product
Go
market
0
fit,
to 1, yeah.
people are going to put pressure on
Totally,
you
totally.
as though you
Yeah.
are already an established company.
Yeah. It's a way different vibe than like Avi Schiffman, who's raised like I think a seed round, and it's like. Yeah, like he's still early, like not everyone's using these friends, but like you're just kind of like, yeah, he's figuring it out. He's iterating through things. Like you just give a seed stage founder a much different line of credit to just go and experiment with things. And now the browser company is facing competition from Perplexity with Comet. They're also facing competition from OpenAI potentially. Obviously, Google's not asleep at the wheel. They're investing in CapEx. They're going to stuff Gemini and everything. Chrome's going to get better. The default is still Chrome for most people. You can see Safari, Apple Intelligence stuff. Like there's a lot of big companies that are facing this off, and no one wants to lose the browser wars 3.0. So
yeah, we're working on getting the founder of Brave on the show. Hopefully that'll
that's
happen.
another browser that actually
in the
broke
next
through.
week or so.
Brendan Eich, absolute dog.
An absolute dog. Boardroom general.
Boardroom general for sure. This is just a funny post. Starting to think business is standing on me. I don't even know what it means. It's just like
ideally you're standing on business,
Yes.
but sometimes business
Stands on you.
flips the script and stands.
Rough. Well, Palmer Lucky says it's time for a new service pistol. And by new service pistol, I mean old service pistol. Of course, he's talking about the 1911. I believe that's the correct weapon. 2 world wars it was used in. And this is in response to the U.S. Air Force's Global Strike Command indefinitely pausing the M18 pistol use after a fatal incident. Very sad at the AFB FE Warren. This follows concerns over Sig Sauer's P320s firing without triggers being pulled cold, leading ice to ban them permanently. And so, very
1911.
Lindy,
Lindy,
as they say.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I have one that I designed in the style of a Patek Aquanaut.
No way.
So I matched.
Really?
I matched the.
Wow.
I got the metal treated to have the same finish
No
as
way.
the Aquanaut, and I got the handle in the same
Is it orange?
texture.
Okay,
No,
texture.
green.
Okay.
Green, silver and green.
There you go.
It's fantastic. I will pass it down generations.
It's fantastic.
But yeah, this post was in response. ICE is retiring the Sig Sauer P320 as they've been firing without triggers being pulled. And there was recently a fatal accident at F.E. Warren Air Force Base.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, very sad. Hopefully they can figure it out. I hadn't heard anything bad about P320s from just random followers, people that I follow. But
I mean,
hopefully
SIG
they can
has
figure it out.
never, to my knowledge, had a great reputation. They made, on the retail side, they made, I believe they made some that were people liked for as everyday carry because they were just super compact. But the M18 just doesn't. You need these things to be reliable on a level that that is extremely difficult to achieve. 1911, right, is Lindy. It's
Yep.
been in service around the world for so long. The Glock 19 and other Glock variations.
I saw
are
a lot
also
of Glock fans on the timeline being like, it's
Total
our
Glock
time.
victory.
It's our time. No safety, still doesn't fire without pulling the trigger.
Isn't there a Founders episode on
Yes,
Glock?
there is. It's fantastic. Highly recommend it. David Center's Founders podcast.
Gaston
on
Glock.
Gaston Glock. You got to go listen to it. It's fantastic.
One of
Anyway.
it's the iPhone of firearms.
True. Well, speaking of the iPhone, every millennial is now paying $9.99 per month for 2 terabytes just to not delete their life, says Signal. This is Tyler Cosgrove's future. He's going to get roped in as he gets a bigger iPhone, which he won by defeating Arc AGI V3 as a human in the human category.
He did it.
He's on the leaderboard. He was number 5.
He beat the Clanker allegations.
Beat the Clanker allegations. Clanker, what do you think of that?
That's
so
slang.
this comes from
Slur.
somebody says when you call customer support and a Clanker picks up and it's somebody pulling off the headphones, very, very annoyed. And Kit Greer Mulvena says, can't believe I've lived far enough into the future to learn the first slur for robots. 600,000 likes on this. Clanker is definitely going to go mainstream. It'll be an OK Boomer moment. It'll be
Okay, Clanker.
yeah, there's going to be so many memes around this. Do you like that as a pejorative for AI systems? Do you think it's a good term?
I'm big into not using slurs against anyone's and robots as well,
I
right?
agree.
They
I say
remember
thank
everything.
you.
You're going to be in the training data.
Yeah.
They're never going to forget.
Maybe we need to coin a positive nickname for AI systems along the lines of a GigaChat. But something along those lines.
gigabyte.
A gigabyte. A gigabyte picks up. Something along those lines. We need something that's uplifting as we go into the age of super intelligence that makes sure that we are.
Speaking
the
of
last
super
paperclip.
intelligence, there's a post here from Barely.
Barely AI.
And it's DeepMind founder Demis Hassabis on how he set up his life to maximize deep thinking with 2 full workdays in a 24-hour period. I'm going to read through this, and then I have some thoughts. Demis says, I think I probably have some quite unusual habits. I generally sleep at about 4 in the morning, goes to sleep. I get into work around 10 a.m., do a full day's work in the office, come back for dinner, spend a bit of time with the family, and then start a second day's work at 10, 11, and go on to the small hours of the morning. Usually that's the time when I do my research, so I'll be reading about the latest academic papers. I like doing all my kind of creative thinking in the small hours of the morning. I thought this was funny because there was a post, there was like this viral video from this
I
hustle.
have it, baby.
Pull it up.
I have it.
This
Let me
hustle
put it in
bro
the
that
bangers
he was
tab.
getting completely
Okay,
roasted.
Can we pull this up? I just put it in the tab.
He was getting
I have
completely-
changed and manipulated time. It's one of the greatest. It comes from this podcast. And it's one of the funniest memes of all time. I love it. So hopefully we can play this on the stream because it's a fantastic
Mars
video.
Eve in the chat says Row Buddy.
Okay.
As an
Row
option.
Buddy. I like
Row
that.
Buddy.
Okay, let's play this and listen to this. Play this. Can we get the audio too? Maybe refresh. Is that going to work? Can you scroll back on it? It's short now?
So I measure time. I've compressed and condensed time. I've bent it. My day is 6 a.m. to noon, and I'm not crazy. You're crazy thinking it takes 24 hours, just like some dude in a cave did 300 years ago.
That's the best part.
My second day starts at noon and goes till 6 p.m.
If you're standing
That's
up
day
right
2.
now, sit
and then
down
the next
and
day is
listen.
6 p.m. to midnight. What I've done now is I have changed and manipulated time. I now get 21 days a week. Stack that up over a month, I'm going to kick your butt. Stack it up over a year, you're toast. Stack it up over 5 years, my entire life is different than it would have been otherwise. So I measure time. I've compressed and condensed time. I've bent it. My day is 6 a.m. to noon, and I'm not crazy.
You're crazy.
For thinking it takes 24 hours, just like some dude in a cave did 300
This is the best
years
part.
ago.
Dude in a
My
cave
second
300
day starts
years
at noon
ago?
and goes till 6 p.m. That's day 2. And then the
1700?
next day
What
is
are we
6 p.m.
talking
to
about?
midnight. What I've
We
done
weren't in
now is I've
caves.
changed and manipulated time. I now
We
get
built
21
the
days a week.
Louvre 300
Stack it
years
up over
ago.
a month, I'm
Like,
gonna kick your butt.
I'm pretty sure
Stack
like
it up over a
kick your
year,
butt.
you're toast. Stack it up over 5 years, my entire life is different than it would have
Okay,
been
kill
otherwise.
that, kill that.
Okay, so
It's one of the greatest
so
videos ever.
so
Demis
Demis
is
can say that,
maximizing.
and he goes viral. Everybody's like, "Wow, brilliant,
Brilliant.
genius, GigaChad, gigabyte."
Yep.
He
But you say
compressed
it, you say it
time.
as a hustle guy, and all of a sudden you're demonized.
Yeah.
You know,
He's
I put him in-
demonized for compressing time.
Yeah.
You can't even compress time in this country
Demis
anymore.
has changed, manipulated time, not like someone living in a cave 300 years ago.
I don't know. I think part of it is the way in which it was presented.
Yeah.
Demis was just like, I do this, it works for me.
Yeah,
This guy
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, I'm gonna kick your
Kick your
butt.
butt.
My life's gonna look completely different.
Stack that up over a year, you're toast. And stack that over 5 years, my life's completely different. It's great. It is a good habit, I guess.
We
I
should
don't
have
know.
Demis and that guy on the show to just hash out time compression.
Time compression.
The great debate.
It's great. Yeah, podcast crossover. Let's get them two on a podcast together. That would be fantastic. Anyway, more hilarious posts on the timeline from Power Bottom Dad says, "I'm pregnant," she said. Holy based, he said. The greatest
Which
post.
is the only response.
Ridiculous. And there's another post from him in here, just a completely insane stat. 12 million less children, 41,000.
Yes, the story here is
kindergartens. What's going on here?
41,000 Chinese kindergartens have closed in the last 4 years because there's just so many less
That's
kids
so
being
many.
born.
Yeah, okay.
This is what collapsing birth rate looks like.
This
in
is their
bear
one
market
child
in-
policy, right? They've reversed it, but not. They reversed the policy to some degree, but not like the cultural
culture.
meme, right?
Yeah.
So they are falling behind. That is a lot of kindergartens. I wonder how many kindergartens are in the United States. I feel like it can't even be 41,000. That's so many. 12 million less children. Very insane. Well, good luck to them. Hopefully they can get it.
Kylie Robinson says Sam Altman on Theo Von is indescribable, like the first contact between two alien species that are from entirely different parts of the universe.
I kind of disagree with this. I feel like they were vibing. I feel like I don't know. Maybe I didn't watch the full thing, so maybe I missed a little bit. But it felt like they were getting along really well. It seemed like
Theo's doing his bit of acting a little chud-like,
Yeah.
but it is actually powerful combination in order to understand.
Well, I like
AI progress.
that Theo Von JD
impact.
Vance meme. Have you seen this one? It's Theo Von interviewing JD Vance, and it's like one of these men is the heir to a dynasty and a family fortune, and one of them was raised by a mother with a substance abuse problem, and Theo is the one that comes from like an amazing family lineage, and JD had the family with the substance
because
abuse
it's
issue.
Theo Von.
Something along those lines is that he comes from like a very, very strong lineage. And
His full name is Theodore Capitani von Kernatowski
I love
III.
it. I love it. I love it. What a badass. Amazing. Oh no, swear jar. Got to put some money in the swear jar. We're trying to clean up the language around here. How are we doing? We are at the end of the deck. Of course, we can pull up more posts, though. I got a whole stack here. You guys are going to have to go into the archives if you want to pull up the actual slide deck. But we have posts that we didn't get through previous days. If we're waiting around, we got Meta.
We got days.
We
of
got App
posts.
Store. We got a whole bunch of stuff. Timeline was in turmoil. Let's see. Wilmanitis, it's a Friday show. It's a no guest show. We got to highlight Wilmanitis. Work hard with people you love. Don't gamble. Live simply and below your means. Create beautiful things. Spend most of your time in silence. Do intense physical labor. Tend to your community. Speak simply and truthfully. Avoid complexity in all things. Most things are simple. He's dropping the hustle. He's like highbrow hustle porn. I like it.
Really is.
Just a pump up speech in your timeline. We talked about that. We talked about Blueprint. Brian Johnson's still hiring a CEO. If you want to get in on the action over at Blueprint, hit up Brian Johnson. He's hiring a CEO and a CTO who can lead his business day to day, and he's getting earned media for his job posting. What else do we have?
Oh, Meta. Breaking news. Meta has a new chief scientist of Meta MSL, Meta Superintelligence Labs. They snagged Sheng Jia Zhao, who was previously a research scientist at OpenAI. Got his PhD from Stanford. In his own words, he likes training models.
Love it.
So Alexander says Sheng Jia is a brilliant scientist who most recently pioneered a new scaling paradigm in his research. He will lead our scientific direction for our team. So team is stacked. Stacked would be an understatement.
I've been digging into their training facility, seeing the amenities at the Superintelligence building, designed by Frank Gehry.
And he was in the video for ChatGPT agents from last week.
Stolen base. You'll love to see it. The AI talent wars continue to heat up. We will be covering it. I'm sure we'll cover it all next week. Was this announced after market close? Close to it. I don't know, not yet. But we have our only guest of the Friday show.
Surprise guest.
Bring him in on the walk-in cam. Whoa, blowtorch going. Let's go.
There we go.
In the
with
TBPN
the jacket.
We love it.
Safe himself.
Welcome to
founder,
the stream.
CEO of Shinkei. Fish robot man.
The fish robot.
We're doing a taste test.
Welcome
today.
to the stream. How you doing?
First time eating on the show.
Oh yeah.
See how this goes. Good to see you. What's happening? How are you? Been a while. What's going
Welcome
on?
to the show. How
Welcome
you doing?
to the show, gentlemen.
Good to see you.
Good
Okay.
to see you guys.
Hi. Nice
This
to meet
is
you.
Cody, Director of Culinary.
Amazing.
Good afternoon.
Cool.
All right, we've got a few things to show off here.
Let's do it.
Wow.
What do you
First
got?
this angle, we got this over here.
Okay.
So side-by-side action, we got some sushi pieces for you guys to
Ooh,
try.
lovely. Sushi.
Let's get on the mics so people can hear you. And yeah, welcome to the show, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us.
When were these caught, by the way?
So if you take a look over here,
Yes.
going in clockwise order from the piece close to John, you'll see, so you have one of our pieces, fresh, frozen. Then on the top right, you have just a piece from Whole Foods that we bought this morning.
Okay.
Yeah, comparing and contrasting. You're going to try this side by side right now.
Okay.
We're
And
trying
then-
both of them? Like, we're going
yeah,
to try the
yes,
Whole
yes,
Foods
yes.
one, too?
To see the
Yeah.
Okay.
difference.
So we're
Okay.
trying
I'm a
Whole
little
Foods,
worried
you're
about
gonna
I'm a little
You're
worried
taking
about
shots at Jeff Bezos. I don't know. I'm a Whole Foods defender.
I don't know. Whole
That's a
Foods.
One of the greatest to
challenge,
ever
right.
do it.
Whole Foods, the fall off of Whole Foods needs to be
Needs to be
studied.
Okay, so let's
incredible.
do it. We can get the bucket out of here. We can also get the reindustrialized Shinola clock out of here. We can really clean up this whole area. So
Awesome.
yeah, give me some fish. I want to try the sushi. Let's see.
So for this species, what we like to do
Okay,
is...
what is this species?
So this is black cod.
Okay, black
You know,
cod.
we source everywhere from Central California all the way to Washington
Okay.
and Alaska. You know, later this year.
Okay, caught on a traditional fishing boat.
Yeah, it's like fully traditional. You know,
Okay.
we have anywhere from 35 foot to over
yeah.
80 feet.
Yeah.
You know, across all our different partner boats.
Yes.
If you recall, basically the way that we work is
Yes.
we give the machines to fishermen
Okay.
for free. We pay them more to use our handling process.
Yep.
And then we're vertically integrated, so we sell the fish directly to a retailer or wholesale to a distributor that would go to a restaurant.
And is the machine that you build on the actual the ship on
Yes.
the boat?
Yes. Yeah, it goes directly
so
on
it's
the boat.
deployed at sea,
Yep.
so that they don't need to keep the fish
Forward
alive. and
deployed
bring it back.
robot.
Forward deployed robot. You'll love to see it. Okay.
Yeah.
And then about how old do you think this fish is then?
So our fish is going to be 9 days old.
9 days old.
Yeah, and you're
Okay.
going to be able to still eat it raw, and it'll probably taste better than anything else you ever had.
Fantastic.
Which is pretty crazy.
Okay.
And then the whole food stuff we just got this morning.
Okay, so we
So
don't
it
know
could be like a
exactly.
couple years old.
Right.
Oh, really putting Whole Foods.
Yeah, you can take shots.
Basically,
let's
these
get,
4 are ours, and the 3 are the frozen.
Fantastic.
So they whip out the chopsticks, or you can just raw dog with your hands.
Okay.
There we
And
go.
if you are one of those people that love sauce, because we're Americans, that's a miso sauce, and this is like what you would call like a kabayaki, or like an eel sauce.
Okay, great.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, tell me where to start. I'll start with the whole. I'll start.
with these guys.
Yeah.
We won't tell you which is which.
Oh, you won't? Okay.
Yeah,
I think I just did, but whatever. I'll just see if they're paying attention.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
This is just seared just to bring the fat out and change the texture of black cod, but that you can taste the fat as what happens with that species.
And then we're ready to try those guys.
Okay.
Okay. Back to back.
Back to back.
Got the baseline. This is good. I always get hungry during the show.
Good. I'm glad to feed you.
Wow. Night and day.
So this is yours, and this is
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Yeah. So the whole food one just tasted like kind of wet rubber.
Yeah, yeah. It's more like homogeneous texture. I feel like.
Also, no flavor at all.
Yeah.
It just was like, okay, I just ate something that was just wet.
Yeah.
Versus this one is like, I'm not a fish expert, but it has like it's more. There's like layers to it.
Yeah. I feel like this is.
You can have the next Whole Foods one, John.
I feel like this. I feel like this is introducing me to this particular type of sushi. I don't usually order. This is what type of cod?
This is black cod.
Black cod.
Yeah, so sablefish is another
I'm
name.
gonna start ordering this.
Think
It's
of
pretty
like
good.
miso black cod
Yeah,
from
yeah, yeah.
Nobu. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is the exact same.
Amazing.
Same one.
Amazing.
We actually we're partnering with probably like 40 Michelin stars across all the different restaurants we work with now.
Yeah,
And like for most of them, they're saying that this is the best black cod.
What do you think about that one?
It's insane with the sauce too.
Yeah.
So good.
Those things with that species, that sauce, everything really works hand in hand.
Yeah. So the reason
What were you doing before this?
Oh, I've been a sushi chef for over 30 years.
Wow.
No way.
Yeah.
When did you? Were you like 2 years old when
I
you started?
quit culinary school and became a Japanese apprentice at a Japanese restaurant, and worked my way out of the dish pit all the way to start doing sushi. And then I tried to quit in 2015 and really got into like aquaculture.
Tried to quit. He's addicted.
You're always
sushi.
on the precipice of going back into the business. But I went into aquaculture. I started looking behind and trying to find really good. I've been obsessed with finding good fish, good quality fish. That led me down to Baja and looking at aquaculture projects and really getting behind in like what fish could be. I wanted to get more local fish. And then I got a call one day from one of our investors and was like, I've got something for you. It's going to blow your mind. And I met Safe, and he told me the whole thing, and I was obsessed like right from day one. Tell me how we can do this.
You should tell the story of your time at Fish trying to source.
Yeah.
This quality.
So my chef partner and I, we had a restaurant in Culver City here, and our whole thing was trying to source as good as local fish as possible. Nothing against Japan, but I wanted something more local. We have great stuff off our coast.
Yeah.
The perception is that the Japanese stuff is just so much better, which it is, but at the same time, it's like you're flying it all the way over here, you're paying this money. So we wanted to have something that was just a representation of local fish. And so we were buying from some local fishermen that were doing ikejime and bleeding.
Oh, really?
But the hard part is now we're competing with all the other LA chefs. No, I wouldn't. The cost wasn't the thing. It was competing with everyone else.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was really hard to menu that because you could only, if you're on the text thread and you were a little late, everyone else is getting
Wait,
ahead
it's
of
really
you.
doing, like-
So that local fisherman, hey, I've got this stuff, and by the time you answer, I've
No
only
one's
got
built a SaaS platform for trading
Not
fish
yet.
Not
futures.
yet.
I could only get my
on?
hands on like 3 to 4 fish at a time.
Yeah.
So it was really hard to menu,
Yeah.
have it basically every week.
Cool.
And so this to me was like,
Yeah.
this is a no-brainer. This is for us. This is basically a love letter as chefs that want this kind of quality,
Yeah.
but at scale now.
Yeah,
now I can menu it.
So talk about scale, because you said you're going into Michelin star restaurants. That feels like a little bit of an unfair comparison because
Yeah.
I don't usually go to a Michelin star restaurant
Right.
and say, oh yeah, this is better than Whole Foods. That's not really the comp.
You pay for
So,
the difference.
But I'm excited about the future where I get Michelin star quality at just the Whole Foods equivalent or wherever you guys are distributing.
Exactly.
So what are the next steps? How much do you have to scale this up? What's the volume and what's the plan for actually getting this widely available?
Yeah, for sure. So great question. We are focused right now on the Michelin star restaurants because they are the tastemakers.
Totally.
But this is, I don't know if you're a believer in trickle down economics, but this is kind of the same thing.
Yeah,
So,
it's a loose analogy.
Right.
Yes,
it's very loose. Yeah, but I mean, the premise is we're finding this market that has a segment, the willingness to pay for the quality, and then basically
use that to get more scale, and then you can.
And we're actually moving and making that transition now. So
Cool.
like earlier this year we're doing like a couple £1,000 a week. Now we're like in the 8 figures now. Or just like tens of thousands of pounds.
And is the bottleneck like capital or actually people to build more machines?
We cannot build machines fast enough.
You can't build
right now.
machines fast enough.
So
What's the bottleneck to building more machines?
Technicians, if you're listening,
Technicians,
reach out, please. Field engineers, forward deployed equipment.
If you want to build killer robots, reach out.
So what does a technician actually do? Are they like assembling different parts that have been cut on a CNC or something and piecing together your machine from parts that have been machined themselves?
So we do very, very light fab work.
Okay.
Most of it is just assembly in-house, and we work with local machine shops, local to Southern California.
Yep.
And then the intention, of course, is like we're going to build out a full team that is doing all the assembly work, and also diagnosis, test engineers, whatever have you. Right now we're still early days, but we're doing machine every 2 weeks at this point.
Is there a world where you partner with someone else to help build the machines? We were just talking to Chris Power over at Hadrian, and he was saying like every company will need a Hadrian style factory. Of course, he's focused on defense technology and shipbuilding and all of that stuff. So he's saying like I'm going to go to a company. He didn't mention anyone by name, but you could imagine he goes to Anduril or Lockheed Martin or SpaceX and says, okay, you need a new factory to build this stuff at scale. We will set that up for you. We will manage it. It lives on our balance sheet. Like, how do you think about where the long-term like assets sits? Because that's more of like a capital structure question, right?
The machines pay themselves back in 12 weeks.
Okay.
Very fast, and so we're very capital light.
Yeah.
There is definitely a world where we could go for CM if we decide that we're making hundreds of machines.
Sure.
I don't think we'll ever reach that production capacity speed, because I don't think we'll need to. We might fragment, if we decide to expand internationally, and different countries have different factories. But in the core factory here in Southern California, I really doubt we're going to be making hundreds of machines a year.
How much does the machine like weigh? How big is it? It's like
so it's about
it's about as big as this table, right?
Okay.
It's actually much smaller now. It's it's like the size of like a large refrigerator, 6 feet tall.
So you could, in theory, make that in America and still ship it to Japan.
Totally.
Right, it's totally doable.
And again, that's as a percentage of the cost. Like, the machine is pretty heavy. It's like 750 pounds.
Yeah, it's going to be freight. It's going to be on a boat for a month or two, but
it's going to be on boats for a long time.
It'll permanently be on boats.
Where, if people want to try
what's the option?
Which are you allowed to talk publicly about the rest, like the various Michelin stars?
All our fish are sold under our brand and grade, ceremony grade. And so kind of like a nod to ceremony grade matcha right there. So if you go to ceremony.com, spelled with an S and with an I, we actually have a list of all the restaurants. You'll see all the different ones. We're in every major metro, so like Miami, Austin, Denver, Colorado, Minneapolis, as well as all the coastal cities of every single one you can think of. And so we'll have like our key restaurant partners there.
Sure.
If you're based in LA and you want, a few buddies of ours, you can go to Yes downtown, and
cool.
they do, that's a great story there. There's a Japanese chef who came here to the U.S. and actually taught a lot of the local fishermen how to do ikejime and then start using our products.
He's the guy we really wanted to get to I would say his approval, and we did, which was a huge. I think he almost started crying when he basically came out.
I forget when we actually met. It was a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, and it was just you on the team. You maybe had one other person.
Two engineers,
two engineers,
right?
And you were laying out this plan of like you were gonna make the machine, you were gonna get it on boats, you were gonna like actually produce the fish and then sell it to the end restaurant. And it sounded pretty unhinged to like verticalize, basically like go that quickly and own the full process. But it's absolute progress is.
But when you have
insane.
such a huge difference in the fish, like it's a no-brainer because we actually initially started doing the go-to-market in. More like a robotics as a service business where you'd pay for every single fish that you would process this way.
Sure.
What we found was when we'd work with fishermen, they're out, on their Nokias in the middle of the ocean with no like cell service. They're not going to be sitting there like trying to like post on Instagram some fun reel about how they cook their fish this way.
Sure.
And basically what we would have to do is do all the same work we're doing now of talking to distributors, talking to retailers, teaching them about the technique, across like more nutrition, more shelf life, more weight retention, like all these different benefits. And so rather than us having to do all that work and having to share that, for reduced risk with the fishermen, we thought, let's just go risk on. And so we basically like build all the machines ourselves, and then we own and maintain them on our balance sheet.
Sure.
Fishermen make more money. You know, in some cases, we're literally doubling their take-home margins.
Wow.
And, you know, obviously the increased shelf life, you know, all those other benefits like trickle down across the entire supply chain, and everybody wins.
Very cool.
Amazing.
Awesome.
First ever tasting
First
on
ever
TBPN. Live tasting.
It's Food Network.
You guys knocked it out of the
People
park. This is a
comp us,
high stakes demo. We might have got it wrong. We might have been like, oh,
confused. It could be, yeah.
You guys crushed it.
I appreciate you coming out.
Thank you for
Sure.
bringing
Really appreciate
sushi on the set.
Yeah, fantastic.
Progress is amazing.
All right. Well,
thank you for
having
joining
us.
us.
Thanks, guys.
We can
Thanks
close
so
out
much.
the
Yeah,
show
let's close out
together
the show.
with
We'll
the
see you
boys
on
here.
Monday.
We'll see you Monday. Everybody have a
Leave us
fantastic
5 stars
weekend.
on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and have a great weekend,
See you
everyone.
Monday.